to the ashes. The spirits light up the night.
Now, we're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with Monster Quest producer, host Doug Hajicek, and co-host Jeff Perrella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good. Good day today.
Yeah, welcome everybody to Untold Radio AM, episode 220.
220, yep.
That's a lot of episodes. Doesn't sound like it, but it is. Trust
That's a
me.
lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh, and Charles has bestoked us with a very generous super sticker and super chat. Thank you, Charles.
Cool. Thank you.
Anyhow, so I was telling before pre-show, I was telling you how my computer got upgraded to Windows 11 without my permission.
Of course.
Thank you, Bill Gates, for that. I really appreciate that. But anyhow, so not only did it lock me out of most of my apps and then, of course, reboot my computer so all my tabs were closed, which I had video edits halfway through and, stuff like that. My keyboard quit working on just certain letters, namely the 0 and the P and the inch mark. Why those went out, I have no idea from the upgrade. But have you ever tried to type without a P?
I can't imagine that's very easy now.
Well, you type out power and it comes out hour, or you type out type and it comes out tie. And so it was just irritating. Every time I'd look at I was like, what in the hell am I doing? And I realized my P wouldn't work. But it would if I held it down for 3 seconds. Then I could get 20 Ps. So I had a backspace. I called Alex eventually, and he helped. I don't even know if the P thing's fixed, but it was kind of like I couldn't pee. So it's kind of like a prostate problem for my keyboard.
Yeah, so, that's no good.
A little bit of an issue. But anyhow, tonight we have Connor Flynn on, and it's Connor, not Connor.
With an O. Yep.
With an O.
I fixed it in other places, but I think we missed it in the intro there. But it is correct in other places.
Phonetically, it's perfect. Oh my God. Yeah, it was. Well, Connor can thank Bill Gates for any mistakes today.
It's Gates' fault. Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's not our fault at all.
Yeah. Anyhow. But no, Connor is a guest. He's kind of the Dennis Hopper of cryptozoology, and that's my nickname for him.
Cool.
It's the Dennis Hopper of cryptozoology. So and Connor is so full of energy that we're gonna have to rein him in constantly.
Yeah.
Because you could ask Connor a question. I know
he's enthusiastic.
Yeah. Oh, really?
He's very enthusiastic.
He might cover the entire answers to the entire universe in that one answer. So we're going to want to tell Connor to back up. Connor, if you're listening, we're going to have you back up constantly today. We got to get deep. I don't want to go skimmy. So I know. Like I think Barnaby had him on, and that was skimmy. I want to go deep, Connor.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
We're going to slow you down, dude. All right. So, what else is going on? I don't think that much. Let's do a little news. We got a few things. Few interesting things. Go ahead.
Ready for the news?
Untold Radio news that can be a bit weird is right now.
Yeah, it worked.
Did you hear about the powerful bomb cyclone hitting the West Coast?
I didn't until I got this video you sent. Could we share it?
Yeah, hang on though. But I don't even know if it's real because everything you see now, you don't know if it's real.
No.
You know, it was like 20 years ago from Kansas City. Supposedly it's from Seattle. So if anybody's in chat and you live in that area, I would love y'all to say, that's BS, or that's exactly what we went through in some areas, in some cities. So go ahead and play the video.
Okay.
Oh my God! Holy shit!
Doesn't look good, does it, Jeff? That footage has been sped up. Sped up. Sped up. Yeah, okay. All right, that's enough. Ugh. Crazy, huh? All right, Jeff. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, can anybody confirm that? I have no idea.
I'd love somebody to confirm it live for us that they actually did get hit with a front that caused that kind of damage. That was crazy, man.
Well, I'm losing your audio here, Doug.
Pardon?
I'm losing your audio here. I'm not hearing you too good.
Oh, well.
It could be an issue with me.
It's not me.
Oh, you're good now.
It's not me, but you never know.
Yeah,
all right.
Now.
So speaking of bomb cyclones, we have a worry about sonic booms again. And they're picking on Elon Musk on the SpaceX program. And they're worried that these sonic booms are going to be so powerful as this, what is it, this new, what rocket is this new giant big one? It slips my mind.
It's called Starship, isn't it? Isn't it the big one called Starship?
No, the rocket.
No? Oh, the rocket.
You're thinking of Boeing. God. You're thinking of Boeing.
No, I think the crew module is called the Starship.
It is Starship. Okay, the Starship rocket. You were right.
Yeah.
All I had to do was scroll down and look at my own notes. Anyhow, but so apparently scientists are worried that this might damage structures.
Sure.
And I kind of get that, I guess. I mean, after all, this thing is crazy. But only read the article. It says scientists have found SpaceX massive Starship rocket is so loud that its sonic boom could cause property damage back in the ground. So apparently measurements taken during the Elon Musk-led company's 5th test flight last month suggest the resulting wave of sound and air pressure could pose great risk of structural damage, such as glass breakage, falling bric-a-brac, and the nearby village of Port Isabel. The team, led by Brigham Young University physicist Kent G., wrote in a paper that was published in the journal JAXA Express Letters. So there you go. So apparently this rocket is 10 times as loud as SpaceX workhorse Falcon 9.
Wow.
So there you go.
Well, it's big. It's going to cut a pretty big hole in the atmosphere when it's going that fast. Yeah. That makes sense.
I have never seen a rocket launch. Have you?
I have not. I was scheduled to see. We were planning on seeing the shuttle launch in Florida way back when I was a kid, and then it got. We were down in Florida, and it was right after the Challenger disaster. So they were all. So we had a trip planned before that, but then all of them got stopped after the Challenger disaster.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyhow, this SpaceX workhorse is big, and I'm glad we have big rockets. It's just kind of sad that we don't have anything other than this kind of combustion to get us out of the Earth's atmosphere. It's kind of sad. You think we would by now have something,
Well, if anyone's going to figure it out, Elon will. That's pretty impressive technology he's coming up with.
I'm surprised they haven't figured out some kind of compressed gas that can, just without any flame.
Well, I think
have you seen the peroxide car?
Yeah.
At the drag strip.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, remember those? Poosh,
yeah.
Gone.
The Conklin Comet, does that sound right?
Yeah.
I never saw one. My dad saw one. He said it was incredible. I've seen jet cars, but rocket cars is a whole.
No, these are peroxide cars.
Yeah, it's a whole different deal.
There's hardly any sound. There's certainly no smoke there's nothing. It just kind of sits there, and all of a sudden, poosh, gone.
Yeah.
You blink, you miss it.
Well, you get full thrust immediately, so you're pulling crazy G's when you do that.
You'd think they would do something like that or something smaller.
Well, I think there are other options when they're out in space. I think once you get up into orbit, there's different options for propulsion, but kind of limited.
Well, yeah, once you get up there.
Yeah.
Once you get up there, I mean, come on, we got to get away from this crap. Can you imagine the pollution? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, scientists say aliens may be hiding in the multiverse. Of course, we've all heard, it was last week, with the testimony on aliens living in our oceans, and that's kind of gotten around. Most people don't give a damn if we have aliens living in the ocean, but that was kind of the main focus of the last congressional meeting. But now scientists are saying they may be hiding in the multiverse. Okay. I don't know. I think I have a photo there. It's definitely the real multiverse right there, Jeff.
It looks just like it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, scientists suggest that the reason why we have not yet found aliens could be that they're hiding in a parallel universe. Makes sense to me. In a detailed, huh? What?
I said, sure, why not? I don't know.
It says as detailed in a new paper published in the Journal Monthly Notices, the Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. And it's a team led by Durham University. So apparently astrophysicist Danielle Serini devised a new take on the Drake equation. So apparently what they're doing is they're figuring in antimatter in this Drake equation. Sure. And they've come up with a whole new thing. And I wish they would have published in this article what the equation was, and they did not. But look up, just look up the headline, and maybe somebody's published this new scientific equation.
I think it just adds another. Are you familiar with the Drake equation? You know how that works?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I've always found that to be very, makes sense. It doesn't seem too extraordinary. I think there's a lot more life out there than even he thought, because back when he came up with that equation, we didn't know about all of the life that can survive on toxic materials.
Yeah. A lot has been added to the Drake equation over the years, for sure. But I think the Drake equation, I think it says more about how big the universe is. It's just, you have all these tiny little chances, tiny little probabilities, but when the universe is that big, I mean, the universe is massive. It's hard to explain, hard to understand. It's so big.
Well, she's trying to explain why we haven't yet made first contact. And I'm thinking, lady, where have you been?
Yeah.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who claim they've had first contact. So it's when I read this, I just get a little irritated because they just ignore all of that anecdotal evidence completely.
Yeah.
So, but the statement explains why we have not yet made first contact. And I'm thinking, well, it's such a blind blanket statement. I don't know. I disagree with statements like that. And then next, apparently the Juno spacecraft now has traveled 1.7 billion miles over the last 5 years. That's a lot of miles to reach Jupiter's orbit. It also should give you a perspective of what $1.7 billion is, right? It's taken this thing 5 years to travel that far, that many miles, to reach Jupiter's orbit. And so they've sent in this new photo, which to me looks like complete fiction, but it could be real, of this surface of Jupiter. It looks like a spinel paint.
Yeah, that looks accurate to me. The better resolution we get, it's crazy what's going on in Jupiter. And it's just what's really deceiving is the scale of all that. The average storm that's massive. I mean, that stuff is massive.
Yeah, like one of those circles that you see there, one of those storms, they're like 40,000 miles across.
Yeah, some of them are bigger than the Earth. It's crazy.
Yeah, just a storm. Yeah, there's probably not much hope, Jeff, of sending you to Saturn or Jupiter or any of those places.
I'd love to check it out, but I don't think anyone's landing.
It looks like a Ukrainian Easter egg or some damn thing. Okay. Michigan hunters shot more than 70,000 deer already out of their 2 million deer in Michigan. That's a lot of deer. I had no idea there were that many deer in a small state like Michigan.
Wow.
2 million. And apparently, this is interesting. It says that of a total of bucks were 45,000 and 16,000 does were taken. And apparently it's not going to even put a little dent in 2 million deer.
Wow.
I don't know. It just seems like a lot of deer. Do you think there's that many deer?
Yeah. They reproduce fast and they grow fast, and yeah, I believe it. They can exist almost everywhere. I mean, that makes sense.
It does. Okay.
I buy it.
Well, I wonder how many Minnesota has. This Michigan's got 2 million, then we must have 4 million.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Maybe somebody can look it up in chat. Okay, next is apparently somebody is studying the creepy Aztec death whistle and their effect on the human brain. Now, I watch this and I've heard them before. And every time I hear them, I was like, can't shut it off quick enough because I don't want to hear
the sound of it. Yeah.
You've heard that, right? That sound.
I have not. No.
Oh, you haven't? Well, just for fun later on, not on the show. I would never broadcast such crap. But
Aztec death whistle.
Yeah, you go ahead and you listen to it. It's really icky. It really is. But apparently they studied the brains and gave brain scans using MRIs while they played these terrible sounds. And apparently, people describe them as a hiss all the way to a blood-curdling scream.
Wow. Well, if anybody's going to do that, it'd be the Aztecs. They were pretty bloodthirsty.
So apparently they used them to enhance religious and sacrificial rituals.
Wow.
And apparently 2/3 of the participants, 32 of the participants had their brains scanned by MRI while they heard the death whistles. Among randomized mixed sounds, obviously is kind of their base. They played things from 5 different categories, things like, screams and sirens and all sorts of crap. So they could see if the death whistles had anything significant. And apparently they did. And I don't want to it's a long article. I don't want to get into everything, but
it's interesting. Yeah.
Apparently it affected the frontal cortex of the brain.
Wow.
There you go. And it caused people fear, pain, anger, and sad voices. I'm not sure what that means.
Doesn't sound very fun.
And after you've heard the Aztec death whistle, you may need water cremation. Have you ever heard of water cremation, Jeff?
No, I have not.
I have not either until today. So apparently water cremation is now a thing. They don't burn you, they flood you.
Really?
They basically, have you saw Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Did you see when they melted the body down in the bathtub?
Yeah. And then
kind of similar, I guess. They put you in a washing machine full of a bunch of chemicals, and when everything's drained and gone, it's just your bones.
Weird. So what do they do with the water?
It goes into the sewer system.
Oh,
And that's all well and good, I guess. But if you live in like states like Nevada, where they use the what goes in the sewage for the drinking water and the bathing water, I'm thinking, ugh.
no thanks.
So they dissolve you. And let me read just a little bit here. It says a growing base of consumers, God knows, I don't know where those are, that Brown's equipment utilizes water, ethanol, alkaline chemicals to decompose a body in about 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's fast.
So apparently it tilts back and forth. It agitates the solution the way a washing machine cleanses clothes. He said, Brown said he spent close to $1 million on this water cremation equipment for his place. And which also includes a tank where the water's pH is reduced from 14 to 12.5, right? Alkalinity before it's released into Baltimore City sewer system. There you go.
Wow.
Gonna send it to the water treatment plant. So apparently the guy got a permit and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. And apparently there's not even any DNA left.
So what's the eco-friendly? What's the benefit to that? You're still using chemicals.
Well,
and
you don't
stuff.
have the smoke, I guess. You don't have a lot of the body lost in the air. You have more remains left.
It makes sense.
More
Sure.
weight, bones,
Sure.
and so on. And so they claim a lot of you when you get cremated is lost into the air. So, and I always say, think about Nevada and places where they drink
Right.
the wastewater, and they
Yeah.
obviously purify it, and then it goes through, I think, reverse osmosis in
Sure.
Nevada. But ultimately, you're drinking it. It's like,
Oh, it's going to end up playing the water supply for sure. How does it not?
yeah. Well, all of our water is, it's ancient, right? Most of it.
Yeah.
I was wondered that. I mean, I don't think new water is being created. Much of it, it's kind of whatever was created is still here, and we just recycling it. So when you drink your bottle of water, it may be someone else's. You know what?
Have you read? I can't remember the numbers, but there's a significant amount of water that is now trapped in landfills in partially filled water bottles.
Yes,
it's a significant amount of water.
Yeah,
that's just not getting. It's never going to get out of there.
But I will tell you, I'm not losing sleep over that. I'm more worried about the plastic.
Yeah,
we'll get into that too. Believe it or not, later on in the show, China activates the world's most advanced hypergravity facility that is 1,900 times Earth's gravity. So if you think gravity's tugging on you now, you should go to China, and they can put you in this centrifuge.
It would liquefy you.
It would liquefy you, yeah. I don't know what the deal is here. Apparently, China activated the world's most advanced hypergravity machine, aiming to deepen the scientific understanding. Okay. The system features the largest hypergravity centrifuge, and it will be able to produce forces thousands of times stronger than Earth's gravity.
That's crazy.
I'm just like, okay, sounds good. What can go wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you need to do to fly.
Who knows? Yeah. Strange stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. That's it. That's all I got for the news. And Jeff, I had to do it. We're gonna do a little section, but we're gonna change the name. It's the same thing we've done before, but we're gonna change the name to. Can we get Jeff? Let's try to make Jeff laugh.
Yeah, you can do it.
Let's try. And if I can, I have succeeded. If I can't, then I have failed. But I don't mind failing. Because my jokes are usually really bad. Like they're bad.
Yeah.
So let's
funny.
do that. And I didn't. So our art department worked hard on that bumper.
Yeah. I hope they don't think that looks like me. I don't look that old, do I? I hope
No,
not.
no, don't look like you at all. Not at all. Okay. So, Jeff, joke one. Did you hear the toilet at the local police station was stolen? Did you hear about this?
No.
As it stands today, the police have nothing to go on.
Jeez.
I think I just scored 1 point.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Joke two. Bacon and eggs walked into a bar, and the bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve breakfast here."
Oh.
That one got a groan.
Ooh.
That was a groan. See, he's laughing at his own groan. He's
Sure.
laughing at him. So not my joke. He's laughing at him. Okay, joke three. When I was in the hospital getting ready for surgery, I asked the doctor if I could give myself the anesthetic. He said, "Sure, knock yourself out."
Where do you find these, Doug?
Joke four. I think I've at least got 3 points.
Sure.
Joke
I'll give you
4.
3 points.
Yeah, we're on joke 4. I got 3 points. I think we're okay. Joke 4. I have this really cool pen, Jeff, that I just bought. And it can write underwater. And it can write many other words. That was bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Super bad. Joke 5. Parallel lines have so much in common. It's too bad they'll never meet.
Okay.
See? I think Jeff's faking. He's pretending to laugh now just for me. Okay. Joke 6. I was out walking my dog the other day, and I ran headfirst into a light post. You can believe that, right? I would do something like
Absolutely. Sure.
It hit my head really, really hard. You're going to ask me if I'm okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry. I only sustained light injuries.
Boo.
Joke 7. What do you call two guys hanging from a window?
You
What do
got
you call
me.
two guys hanging from a window, Jeff?
Mm-mm.
Kurt and Rod. Kurt and Rod? Yeah, get it. Okay.
I get it.
You
I
say
get
a
it.
little faster. That one totally failed. I did okay. I think I made a laugh.
Yeah, sure.
A couple of them. I don't think they were exactly belly laughs, but they were good. I loosened you up, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
You guys have no idea how many things Jeff has to do where I don't have to do any of that crap. So it's
I'm getting better at it, and Alex has been just a tremendous help getting me sorted out. So I'm learning a little bit every week, and
so that explains the death look Alex would have on his face once in a while. It's like,
oh, I get it now. Believe me, I get it now. Yeah, until you've done this, you don't. There's a lot going on, but it's fun. I'm not complaining at all. This is fun.
I don't have to do any of it. I can just relax and do this show.
You can just sit there and look pretty.
I'm so relaxed. I just made up a new word.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to hear it?
Are you ready? Are you suggesting that I play the bumper?
Sure. Go ahead.
The untold word of the week is lurly.
Lurly, huh?
Lurly.
Lurly or learly?
Lurly.
Lurly. Okay. So what is lurly?
But I am truly the inventor of this.
Yeah.
And this is when you go to bed so damn late. It's actually early.
Yeah.
It's lurly.
Yeah, I get that. I've done that many times.
I'll be sitting on the counter drinking coffee, blah, 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 6 a.m. I'm thinking, everybody's thinking, oh, Doug's up early. No, I was just lurly. And I just go right along with it. Oh, I just go right along with it. I remember one time I went on a fishing trip on the governor's fishing opener, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I was out all night partying. I drove into another town up all night
No.
partying. And I
It
get
never
back
happens.
when the sun comes up, right? And it was probably a 20, 30-mile drive for me to get back. So I get back in the morning. I'm sitting on the dock, and I hear a voice. Hajicek, what the hell are you doing up so damn early? And I said, what do you mean? I haven't gotten in bed yet.
Yeah.
That's literally. Okay, we got that. Everybody got that?
I like that one. It's a good word. I'll
Yeah.
have to remember. That's a good one.
That's what happened. Well, it's this kind of stuff you did when you were young. I'm still doing it, Jeff. I did
Oh,
it
yeah.
twice this week. Twice without even going to bed. And then I'm like, well, I can always take a nap later. I never do. I just keep going. So it's kind of weird. I definitely invented that damn word or yeah, I invented that word. I'm taking credit for that damn word.
Yeah, let's everybody work on that one. Let's make that a thing. Let's do
Lurly. Yeah, I'm lurly.
it. Lurly. I like it.
Okay. Tech, should we do tech breakdown?
I think we should.
It's kind of
Technological breakdown.
All right, this week's tech breakdown comes to you as completely untested, Jeff.
Okay.
Go ahead and you can throw up photo 8. Completely
8.
untested, but it comes to you from Kenny Ness. And it's an idea that he sent me. I hope I haven't butchered your name wrong, Kenny. I don't think I have. But it's an idea he sent me, and I really kind of liked it because so many people report seeing orbs, right? So I thought, well, let's just get weird with tech breakdown. Let's throw one to the people that like that stuff and have connected orbs to Bigfoot. I've seen orbs when I'm out doing Bigfoot research. Others around me have, but I haven't necessarily said, there's a connection. But this is for people who might think there is. And at the very least, hell, I don't care what you are. If you see an orb floating up in the trees, you might stop and look at it, right? Or try to grab it or something. So, okay. Anyhow, so I thought it was a good idea. So first off, something like this could pique curiosity. Many things people have tried, like hanging CDs, have failed. But maybe this little LED orb that you can buy on Amazon with a remote control, under $30, and there's other places that sell them too. And you've got a little LED light. You can change the color. There's some of them have a flat bottom. Some don't. Maybe this one does, and they're just not showing it. I don't know. I have not ordered one. But you could get all kind of creative. You could drill a hole, put a little camera, like a Wise camera or a motorcycle dash cam in the orb, right?
Right.
Or you could put the camera away looking at the orb. You could hang the orb high up. You could hang it low. You could put it way up there. You can hang it on fishing line, a vine. You can do all sorts of creative stuff. So this is just something you've got to get creative. You could put an audio recorder inside, right? Put an audio recorder near it. Just see what happens. Put it in a hotspot. And of course, I like blue. That would be the color I would pick. It's kind of a blue color. And I've seen orbs. I actually have seen orbs this color, Jeff.
Ah.
You haven't even seen one orb.
No, I have not.
You have orb deficit.
Orb deficit syndrome?
Yes, you do. You have orb deficit syndrome.
But
anyhow, but I do like blue, and you can look at our past podcasts. I talk about it occasionally, but this is something, Bigfoot folks can, for $30, you probably already have a tape recorder, probably already have some small cameras. You can get these in 6-inch or 8-inch sizes. And I know that Kenny has other ideas. I don't want to get too bogged down, but he's got a whole host of ideas on what you could do with this. But I definitely think it would get noticed because it lights up with a soft glow,
Yeah.
Yep. And you can get it in 6-inch or 8-inch. That just kind of went right over your head. That was Jeff.
Yeah.
I said you could. They
I'm
come in
missing
6-inch
something.
or 8-inch.
Okay.
Your mind is not in the gutter, is it?
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to keep it PG rated. I turned my filter on for the show because normally my brain kind of my brain.
See, Alex would have been red the moment I said that. Alex would have been beat red in the face. I said they come in 6 or 8-inch. He would have just been beat red immediately. And of course, I mean diameter, not the length.
Sure.
But you can experiment, try it in different locations, do different things with it. I think it's a great idea, don't you?
Sure. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I think just to do things that have never been done before. You never know what's going to happen. You might get a weird response.
Exactly.
Kind of like baby Bigfoot. I mean, baby Bigfoot is something that no one's ever done before. So yeah.
Yeah, it was very. It's only been tried once, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it didn't. It failed because we ended up recording some really weird, like talking gibberish.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing
camera
that.
Near it. So, did it fail? I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so at all. I mean, it's going to get curiosity. I think this is way cheaper, way easier than a baby Bigfoot to get attention. So there you go. And maybe different colors might elicit different response. So
for sure.
I mean, this stuff is just up to you to experiment with. But I do want to thank Kenny. And I also want to say, if anybody has ideas they want to send in to me for Tech Breakdown, please do. I'm not, normally I just kind of come up with this stuff. This one I was thinking about orbs, and I was thinking about it because I ran into this too, but then it kind of went one ear out the other. And then Kenny wrote me a letter, and I thought, oh, cool. All right, enough of Tech Breakdown. Let's do a little quick trivia. Do you like that when I put you on the front and center so they can just stare at you, Jeff?
No. Okay.
Okay. I look like I just crawled and fell off a turnip truck. Literally today. I haven't. It's bad. I had a rough day. All right, let's do some trivia.
Okay. I don't have the trivia one ready to go.
Fine. We don't need that. We know what it is.
Yeah.
Do you have the trivia picture, I hope?
I don't.
Oh, cut it out.
Which picture is it?
That's a freaking bottle of water.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got that. I guess I didn't realize it was trivia.
Well, it says trivia. Do you have that in your notes, Jeff?
No, I don't.
Come on. Right after Tech Breakdown, what do you go into?
Right after Tech Breakdown, it goes into Untold Clip Picks.
Really? Maybe I erased it. I may have erased
it. I could have screwed up too. I ran it through. I thought I did it right. No, I didn't. I have the picture obviously, but my next thing on the script is Untold Clip Picks. That's okay.
Interesting. All right. And does anybody want to play Jeff in chat?
Stump the Big Ragu.
Yes. You have that. You have that bumper.
I do somewhere. I didn't have it queued up.
It's fine.
Where the heck is it?
Art department makes bumpers. Jeff just ignores them.
Hey, look at this.
It's Untold Trivia time. Let's now stump the Big Ragu.
See? You did have it.
I did have it. Just it wasn't where it should. I didn't have it in the right spot. That's all.
That's fine. Anyhow, who wants to play Jeff? Let's look. I got to tune into comments here. I've been kind of ignoring comments. I'll play him. Sophia. All right, here we go. Sophia, I got to get a pen now.
Wrong one.
All right. S and J. All right, here we go. I'm clicking my cam off. Bottled water sales surpass soda sales in the U.S. for the first time in what year? 2012 or 2016? When did we buy more bottled water than soda?
I'm going to guess 2012.
2012 is Jeff's answer. What is? And once again, Sophia, you can pick the same answer or pick a different answer. 2016. The answer is 2016, Jeff.
I'm wrong.
She's got 1 point above you. The global bottled water market is expected to reach over, is it $300 billion or $500 billion by 2028? 300 billion or 500 billion? That's a lot of money, man.
That's a lot of money.
Especially when you think 1.7 billion miles took them 5 years to go with a spacecraft going at God knows, a million miles an hour. It's crazy. All right.
I'll go with I'll say 300 million. That just seems like an awful lot of money. Or 300 billion, excuse me.
And
looks like Sophia said 500 billion.
It's $500 billion by 2028. Sophia's.
I'm 0-2.
Brendan said 300. Mary Jo said 300. And Sly Fox got it right. And Eric didn't even try. All right. The first this is a tough one. The first commercially available bottled water was sold in what year? Was it 1892, 1760, or 1932? The first commercially available bottled water. So it's 1892, 1760, or 1932.
I'm going to go with I'll go with 1932.
Man, Brendan said he drinks out of the damn garden hose still. Perfect. I love that.
It says 1892.
I love that rubber taste. Actually, I enjoy that vinyl-y taste that you get out of the garden hose.
Well, it's just a good memory. It's it just reminds you of being a kid running around outside.
And you're all hot and sweaty.
It's a good memory.
Oh, yeah, and that ice cold water comes out of there. Okay. So, what did Sophia say?
She says 1892.
What'd you say, Jeff?
I said 1932.
You're both wrong. Which is good because you didn't gain on her. It's 1760.
Yeah.
1760. I don't think anybody got that right. I would have thought if it would have been me, I would have guessed 1932.
Wonder why 1760.
That's when it was sold. It was sold in Britain.
Probably was developed for the military, I'm betting.
Bottled water was sold to the public in Britain in 1760. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I wonder what it looked like. I wonder what the bottle looked like. Ugh. All right.
Yeah,
approximately. Okay, guys, you got to listen up. Could be a trick question. Approximately 20, 35, or 50% of bottled water comes from municipal tap water sources. Is it 20, 35, or 50 of the bottled water that you buy and that's available is from tap water?
Oh,
20, 35, or 50? Don't cheat anybody. It's not fun cheating.
I want to say 50. I bet it's that high. It's 35 or 50. I bet it's 50.
Jeff guesses 50. Sophia says 50. You're both right.
Yeah.
Mary Jo said 35. Brendan got it right. Sly Fox got it right. Sheena Productions got it right. And Cans didn't. All right. So, yeah, just remember the municipal tap water. Ugh. The average cost of bottled water is about 1,000 times, 300 times, or 200 times more costly than tap water.
Say it again.
1,000. Okay. So, versus a glass of water, tap water, bottled water costs either 1,000 times more 300 times more or 200 times more in cost to make or to get, to buy?
I'll go 200.
200? Okay. Sophia. Eric says, I don't know. I don't see. Oh,
Sophia says 300.
Sophia got you again, Jeff.
Yeah, she's good tonight. She's on top of it.
It's 320.
That's incredible.
Well, you got some right, but she also got it right, so it just wiped it out, right?
Sophia is smarter than me today, that's for sure.
Okay, so here we go. Plastic bottles can take up to 500 years, 1,000 years, or 2,000 years to decompose in landfills.
I believe it's a
2,000 or 500 years to decompose.
I think it's 1,000.
1,000?
Sophia says 2,000.
And then, of course, when they decompose, they just kind of turn into microplastics, right?
Of course. And then dissolve into the water and go into the water table. Sure.
2,000. Sly Fox says 500. Gina says 2,000. Brendan says 500. And you said what, Jeff? 1,000?
I said 1,000.
1,000. And Sophia? I'm looking.
Sophia said 2,000.
Oh, okay. Jeff, you just scored a point, sir.
Yay.
All right. So it's 1-3. She's got 3. You got 1.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I'm just going to state this fact. The most popular bottled water brand in the world is Aquafina, owned by Pepsi Company, Pepsi Cola. I'm just like, okay, not my choice. That's all I'm going to say. In some countries, bottled water is considered a necessity or a status symbol. In some countries, bottled water is considered a necessity or a status symbol.
Both.
What's the best answer? And this obviously bottled water can be a necessity.
I would say
what's the best answer?
I think necessity.
Necessity, okay. Sophia?
I mean, I've been to places where it's a necessity.
Yep. Sly Fox said necessity. Brendan says status. Mary Jo says status. Gina says both. Yeah. Sophia says status. It is a status symbol. It's a big status symbol.
That always seemed
See,
weird.
you don't need that Ferrari, Jeff. You just need a bottle of water.
I guess. Drink it with your pinky up, all fancy with the pinky up.
Yeah,
Things I don't understand.
I don't either. Okay. Many bottled waters are treated with reverse osmosis or charcoal filters. Which one? Many bottled waters are treated with reverse osmosis or charcoal filters.
I would say reverse osmosis.
Okay. Reverse osmosis. And what does Sophia say?
Same. Sophia says reverse osmosis. That's kind of the most efficient way to purify water at scale.
You're both right. Mary Jo, sorry. Flat Rockland.
Use charcoal to filter whiskey.
See, Flat Rockland's really cool. He just goes RO. He's not stupid. He just puts RO. He's cool, man. Just abbreviate that. Oh, I wish I could think that quick.
And here I'm just drinking Anoka Municipal City water. Oh well.
Yes.
Actually,
I drink. Hey, I make coffee. I make coffee with the city water. I somehow think that when it's combined with the coffee grounds, it's going to be cleaner. I make coffee
who knows?
Right out of the tap. Okay. All right.
I drink tap water all the time.
So what else here? Okay. Unfortunately, only 20, 14, or 9% of all plastic bottles in the U.S. are recycled. Is it 20%, 14, or 9 of plastic bottles? What's the percentage of them being recycled?
I bet 9. Bet it's low.
9. Jeff says 9. Mary Jo says 9. Sly Fox says 20. Sophia says 14. Jeff, you scored another one.
Hmm.
It is only
kinda
9%.
I'm not real proud to be right on that one. That's a
No.
low number. I wish it was better.
It's staggering. 91% end up in landfills.
Yeah,
We need to up that game.
for sure.
Yeah, especially with plastics, because they don't go away. All right. How many brands of water are there in the U.S.? Is there, and this is, by the way, in 1998. Okay. How many brands in 1998? Is it 195 or 380? 195 or 380 in 1998. How many brands of water? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's 2012. Sorry.
Ah,
But I was going to give you a perspective. There, just so you know, this is a fact. There were 50 water brands in the U.S. in 1998. So now, jump to 2012. Was there 195 or 380 brands of water in 1990?
I bet it's 380.
2012. I'm all screwed up here. 2012, how many? 380?
I bet it's 380.
Okay.
Sophia says 198.
Okay. So Sophia got you again, man.
Ah,
It's 195 in 2012. Yes, that's a lot, though.
I'm getting my butt kicked.
It's a lot. You are. Big time. Let's see who else got it right. 195. Sly Fox got it right. Mary Jo. Sophia obviously got it right. Yeah. Yep. All right. How much money is spent on bottled water? Is it more than 1 billion, 2 billion, or 3 billion? Or no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Is it 16 billion, 25 billion, or 32 billion is spent on bottled water today? 16 billion, 25, or 32?
Man, just taking a stab at it. 25.
Jeff says 25 and Sophia says 32. You're both wrong. 16 billion is spent on bottled water in the U.S. Yeah.
That's a lot of
It's a lot of money, but I would have guessed higher too, just so you know. I definitely would have guessed. And how much money in plastic is wasted each year? You know, when it goes to the recycling bin, obviously nobody's making money. It isn't recycled. How much money is lost? Is it 1 billion, 2 billion, or $3 billion worth of plastic that's wasted each year?
See those numbers again?
1 billion, 2 billion, or 3 billion worth of just raw plastic wasted.
Oh man, I'll go 3 billion. Why not?
And Sophia says 2. Mary Jo says 3. And you saying how many, Jeff?
3 billion.
3. Sophia says 2. The answer is 1. So you both got it wrong. But the score is 5-2.
I think it's better. I think you're giving me more credit than I deserve. I think she's doing better.
I got you down for 2. I don't know.
Well, yeah, okay.
But she
definitely got me beat.
She definitely cleaned your clock. You have
Absolutely.
Yes, you have definitely stumped the big ragu. Thanks,
I've
guys.
been publicly shamed.
You have, yes. Let's just do our clips real quick. We're going to get to Connor here. Let's breeze through this. We don't have much. We have like 6 clips to go, and we're ready for Connor.
Okay.
So the sound is fine. And Jeff, as you know, and I've told people this, his family owns a whole big pizza chain. So this ought to be special, this video. I hope this is not on your pizza boxes, but it might be. Maybe it is. Go ahead and play clip one.
All right. 1 second here.
Sound is good.
It's sure a little bit harder to share for some reason. All right.
There we go. It's coming.
And got it.
Can you read that? Open box before eating pizza. That is a real label.
Well, sadly.
All right, jump that damn noise off. Jeff, kill it. Kill it, Jeff. Do you have that on your pizza boxes, that warning?
No, but sadly, yeah, I don't want to tell any stories that could embarrass anybody, but
is that your thoughts?
I could definitely tell some stories.
Okay. All right. Clip 2, sound off on this one. But a bear stalks a woman hauling her groceries, and this would be a little unnerving. I've done a lot of black bear research, but I'm just surprised that the bear did not absolutely grab one of those bags and run.
Wow, look at that.
It just stalked her. She couldn't get rid. She was really calm.
Really calm. I'm surprised.
I think this is in Tennessee. They're having a lot of bear problems in Gatlinburg and some of those places. This is going to be a thing, and we are going to have to live with it. Bears.
I'm surprised how calm she is. Most people would kind of freak out. Black bears don't really scare me, but yeah, a lot of people would be freaking out.
Well, the thing is, yeah, they normally don't hurt us, but they're capable of it. If they want to get you, boy, they can take you out. And that's why they're so scary. There's not much fighting back a black bear. Okay, clip 3. This is what's coming, Jeff, this week to us. The sound is totally fine. Clip 3.
Yeah, I've had that happen before.
Tin roofs in Minnesota do not work well because of that.
No, they do not.
I've
had that happen. That's not good.
Condo. That means you spend so much time at the workshop. They have put up warning signs in the winter because that exact thing has happened to people.
Yeah, that doesn't look fun at all.
No, not getting hit when you don't expect.
I don't even mind. I've lived in Minnesota most of my life. I don't even mind cold. I can handle cold. I hate moving snow. It's the worst.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's not fun. Clip 4. Sound is good. And this one, I think everybody will really find interesting. Before you play it, Jeff, hang on. Stop it.
Sir.
Have you ever heard of an anti-magnet?
No.
Okay. An anti-magnet is basically a magnet that works off of static electricity. And it's the type of magnet that we talked about last week. You remember? With the hair magnets. Yeah, creating that. Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and watch this with the sound. I think people will find this really, really fascinating. Go ahead.
Despite what it looks like, this is not a magnet. Actually, it's something much more exotic, and the invisible field it emits is easily seen using this 5x5 detector array. But what exactly is the grid detecting? Magnets are underrated. Using an invisible Jedi magnetic force, these little objects attract ferrous material, and their attraction is permanent. It's honestly remarkable, but is there an equivalent for static electricity? An object with a permanent static charge? Instead of attracting only ferrous materials, an object which can attract everything else.
Pause it right there, Joe.
After spending the past month digging into stuff.
Have you ever heard of a permanent static, without getting power from anything, but something you can charge and it stays statically charged? I've never heard of that before.
No.
But
eventually it drains.
That's what we're going to learn about, and that's this anti-magnet. It stays permanently charged with static electricity. Really cool. Go ahead and play it again.
Studies, poring over manufacturing techniques, and formulating my own recipes, there is such a thing. Let's get right to it. There are so many hidden gems of high voltage physics I've had my eyes open to in recent years. Things from levitation, ionic thrust, nebulography, nuclear fusion, to name a few. But Electrets, they're in a class all of their own. Electrets are materials which can retain a semi-permanent electric charge, much like how magnets hold a magnetic field. Whereas a magnet has a north and south pole, these have a negative and positive side, meaning they produce permanent static electric fields. And we're all familiar with what a static electric field feels like. Electrets are really cool and have commercial uses I'll talk about later, but when it comes to the larger sizes, well, those are all experimental and you can't really buy them. And I wanted to make a big one. I got to work researching how exactly they're made, and fundamentally, it's pretty easy. An insulating material is melted, then placed between two electrodes charged to several thousand volts DC. Power is applied the entire time it cools and hardens, leading to a reorganization of charges within the material. That reorganizing comes in a few forms, the most common being molecules lined up in chains of positive to negative, leading to an overall mass of charged material with a positive and negative plate. That's very similar to how magnetizing an object works. As for what insulating material to use, it didn't take long to find the original recipe. Electrets were first made in the 1800s, and Oliver Heaviside originally coined the term electret, but it wasn't until Motojiro Asano, a Japanese physicist, came up with the first repeatable formulation for electrets in 1925, using carnauba wax, rosin, and beeswax. Those materials are easily available today, and I've got the high voltage, so how hard could it be? After a quick search, I found all the materials at local craft stores, and considering they'd be melted, they'd need an appropriate mold. A cylinder shape seemed easiest, and it was a quick print with my Prusa. Once printed, I covered the top and bottom of the assembly with aluminum foil tape, effectively creating two plates to be electrified. For high voltage, I employed the custom flyback from my last video, which at full power produces upwards of 65 kilovolts. I dialed it back a bit and connected it to a voltage multiplier. This setup provided a clean 40,000 volts DC at low current, perfect.
The thing can be studied more and more. This guy takes and he keeps improving his permanent static magnet. Super
That's pretty weird.
Huh?
That's crazy.
So just if you're interested in that, I just think it's something completely new I'd never heard of. I never thought something could have a permanent static charge.
No, I didn't either. That's news to me. That's really interesting.
So you could. So Eric's going, I call bullshit. Eric, challenge, try to make one. I'll get you the guy's link, but it's really interesting. And it's actually old technology. And it totally made sense because years ago I worked on polymers, and I actually got the idea for, I'm not going to say, better not say who, but I was at a plant where they made fishing line. And they were talking about how they align the molecules up, and something clicked in my brain. I went back and I started developing a number of polymers where the molecules were aligned permanently, where they normally wouldn't be. So I changed the molecules. So yes, you can take non-conductive materials and realign the molecules, and it can be done with heat and cold and there's other things I know. And then eventually we ended up making a whole line of products with these polymers that were so strong. And then I developed, not that long ago, a polymer coating where the molecules are lined up, where the paint would stretch as far as the other thing would stretch.
Mm-hmm.
The actual polymer. So you could paint it, not prime it.
Wow.
And it would stretch along with it.
Like the same elasticity, the same rate and all that?
Yeah.
Oh,
which
wow.
has been
That's
tried
really cool.
for literally forever by everybody, every company, and even the big, trust me, I have a secret. And so when Eric calls, that's BS, he's wrong, because you can do it. I was told I could never do what I did, and I did. And we have the process. Nobody in the world has it. And I can do things like fishing lures, for instance. You can put a coating on a fishing lure where it's made out of this stuff that you can stretch, a half a mile, it won't break, and put a paint with no primer, no anything, and the paint will stretch right along with it. And
wow.
off. because of an alignment of molecules. And yeah, it's kind of
Does the color fade as you stretch it, or does the color stay consistent?
Nope, it's
Really?
crazy.
Wow, that's weird.
Yep. And that was just because I tried something that nobody had ever tried. Anyhow, enough of that, but I like that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I sure went off on a tangent. I felt like Connor there for a minute. Hi, Connor.
Connor, he's ready, but he's ready back there.
I know he is. Clip 5. Sound is good. And I snuck in a dad joke for you, Jeff. I
was wondering why music was coming from my printer. Apparently, the paper was jamming.
Okay.
Well, if you ever hear music from your printer, it's because the paper is jammed. Yeah, jammed.
Sure.
Okay. That's it. That's all I got. All right. Now, I've never met Connor. I don't know anything about Connor other than I did see him on another podcast. And I went, holy crap. This guy's got energy.
Yeah, he's enthusiastic, man.
Yeah. And so I'm going to be slow. I'm going to try to slow him down. It's kind of like, if somebody shoots a bullet out of a cannon and you slow it down so you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
High-speed camera. I'm the high-speed camera. I'm going to try to slow Connor down.
And Connor is the cannon. Okay.
Yeah, so we can enjoy him more. That's my plan. Yeah. I don't know if it'll work, but I'll try. Okay,
give it a shot.
Let's
to bring Connor up.
Well, hang on. I should probably read a little bit about him. So he's an author, a filmmaker, cryptid researcher, and he's a newcomer filmmaker. I don't think he's he's not Steven Spielberg yet, but he might end up there someday. He's originally from Cleveland, Ohio. He moved down to Florida in search of whatever mysteries. And Florida is definitely more mysterious than Cleveland, Ohio. I'll give him that. And he's certainly a character and a storyteller. And let's welcome Connor Flynn.
Welcome, Connor.
There he is. Connor.
He is.
Hey, dude, you got are you wearing a bun or do you have your hair cut?
I actually got my hair cut recently.
Oh my God. Okay. Good night, everybody. Connor cut his hair.
Yeah, this is version 2,
Connor 2.
V2.
We got Connor 2 on tonight.
Connor 2.0.
Hey, we're in New America. Might as well bring in the new version of me too.
Good. Yeah, well, good. Congratulations. I think you look great, by the way.
Thank you, man.
I hope you don't mind me. Hope you don't mind me teasing you.
Oh no, I love it. I went through 8 years of being called, a girl, and that I should cut my hair, and then I stayed strong. And now that I cut my hair, now I'm getting the opposite. So I
wasn't teasing about your hair. I was teasing him about your demeanor.
Oh,
when I called you, what did I call you? Who did I compare him to? The actor, Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper of Cryptozoology. That's going to be your new line now.
Oh, I love that. Honestly, when I heard you say that, I was like, I'm running with that for the rest of my time.
Dude, you can run with it. Yeah, it's all yours. It's all yours. Okay.
I love it.
So we're going to do everything backwards, completely backwards. Normally people go, Connor, how did you get interested in cryptozoology? Right? I don't give a shit about that until, did I just swear? I don't care until towards the end of the show, we'll get into that. Now we're going to go, let's just start it out. Connor style. Tell us a really creepy, scary, or whatever, one of your favorite cryptid encounter stories from either you or whoever.
Yes. My favorite story, I have to tell you, is 10 miles, less than 10 minutes away from where I'm sitting right now. And I feel like I was brought here for a reason. I started in Ohio, moved to Lakeland for a little bit, lived out in my car, and then my mom moved to the panhandle of Florida. I still remember pulling off the highway being like, where did my mom move? There's nobody here. And then within the first week, I heard about the Ocheesee Pond Wildman. And the story started up in the 1800s, and there was a bunch of villagers and Native Americans that were dealing with this stalking Bigfoot, a skunk ape, a wild man, some emaciated giant that was harassing mostly the women and children of both sides of life. And eventually, after a year of harassment, they ended up capturing the creature near the Devil's Half Acre. And then they netted it, and then they put it on the railroad and sent it to Tallahassee. And then the governor said, no way, no how, send him to Chattahoochee Hospital. And Chattahoochee Hospital is the Florida hospital for the criminally insane, the worst of the worst, the crazy of the crazy are there. And it's a wild spot, but he was actually kept there for 3 years under a John Doe alias. And I'm guessing they did some crazy, cruel, and unusual experiments. We saw in the movie Chattahoochee with Gary Oldman how they treated war veterans, just shocking them and trying to correct them. So I imagine whatever they did to the Ocheesee Pond Wildman was not nice. But
Well, how did they describe? Slow her down, Connor.
Some people say he escaped, but others reported after 3 years he was killed. And they say he was buried with a bunch of Native Americans, and then Andrew Jackson actually put a building on top of where he's at. And just recently, Stacey Brown did a documentary that he went to the Capitol and he got a Freedom of Information Act and got some of the information. And a lot of the pages about that incident were redacted, and there was huge black marks on it. So pretty interesting stuff. But I live so close to the Ocheesee Pond now that it is a pretty frequent spot I go check out. And I've talked to many witnesses.
Say, Connor, slow her down, dude. How do you describe? Well, how was this creature described?
They said he was about 7 to 8 feet tall. He was speaking gibberish, and he looked like a man, but he was covered in hair. Some people ran with that he was just a lost man, but they actually contacted like all the asylums in the Southeast, and they weren't missing anybody. They talked to the prisons for runaway convicts, and nothing came back. And then there was a couple other situations that happened in the early 1900s where other kids were taken in the swamp, and then they found a giant skeleton that was like leaned against a tree. Pretty wild. And then I actually spoke to a local that found 2 mummies in a den somewhere deep in the swamp. So just the combination of all of it coming together is very interesting. So when I get out there on my kayak, it's awesome. I know a guy that will take you deep into there, and he has a rope because once you get into the cypress trees, it all looks the same. And he's had to rescue a few people out of there. So his name's Laryl, and it's the best type of people. I feel like that's why I was brought to the South, is just because they have strange right in their backyard, and they'll take you right to it. But yeah, there's pictures of the Ocheesee Pond Wildman, footprints. There's a bunch of Native American relics that kind of resemble him. Just a lot of cool stuff. And I feel
But that's okay. That's not a creepy story. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
That's a story of your area, which I know you want to talk about. But do you have one that's just kind of really creepy?
One creepy one. Actually, you have analyzed some of the audio from that night. It was at Flat Rock Booger's house. I was with Matt Williamson, and we actually got some audio calls from 3 different individuals that their frequencies were unlike human beings, but then it also matched frequencies from other Sasquatch samples from across the country. But Flat Rock's house is a known hotspot. It's right outside Evergreen, Alabama. There was a documentary there called The Town That Loved Bigfoot. So the whole place is definitely all into it. But a couple years ago, I was lucky enough to meet Flat Rock at an event, and then the rest is history. But got to talking to him, and I found out that his wife actually moved out of the property because she was so scared. They had one of the dogs get killed, and then his mom actually had one of the Sasquatch booger creatures come up onto her porch and deck, and then it's made contact with the house multiple times. So when I was going there, I was going with all this in my mind, and then I've also posted some of Flat Rock's evidence on like TikTok and old days of my YouTube, and it's got some crazy stuff. There's creatures screaming, "Hey!" and then one banging the side of his house, and thumbprints dug into the birdseed. A lot of cool things that all added up to us going out there. But the first night, we were sitting around the fire with a parabolic dish, and we heard them like singing to each other. And then we also heard them like making these chuck sounds, basically that it was like a quick like hiccup just to get the dog's attention. And Boo, Flat Rock's dog, would zone in on that sound, and then I feel like the rest of the boogers were shifting in the
Well,
forest.
go ahead and
maybe to-
duplicate the sound, Connor.
but it's coming from something way bigger than me. But it's just like a chuck, just like a quick. And then that would get the dog. But so we recorded everything on the audio, and the first night we heard some noises, and Flat Rock also has had other investigators and people come, researchers, to his property, and they always camp right next to his house because of the violence and the scary stories, basically.
Okay, you can't just say that and then just skim over it because of the violence.
Yeah, just one of the dogs getting killed. There's also word of missing people in that area. A lot of Alabama people say that the Sasquatch and the skunk ape are aggressive, but I would really just go to the dead dog. That's what was really in our head. Like, it's not just peaceful and coexistence there. It's some kind of, friction. But the first night we heard sounds while we were in the tent, and we were with Tyler Howell, who's also a researcher and former law enforcement, and he stays prepared. So the first night we stayed pretty safe. Second night, after all that activity, Tyler went home, and Flat Rock was kind of pleading to us for me and Matt to stay at the house and stay close, please, please, please. But we're like, no, we got to encounter this thing. We got to feel it. And after a full day of just running in the woods, going to Burnt Corn Creek and just a bunch of different locations, Murder Creek, a lot of the hot spots in the area, then we zoned in at night again, and we took the golf cart out. And it was probably 11 o'clock, so it was a little late, but not too late. And we're taking the golf cart out, and we hear something paralleling us in the forest all the way to the camp. And Matt and I were like, it was early in the night, so we weren't gonna get psyched out, and we weren't gonna scare ourselves to death because we still had 9 hours to go in the tent. And so we got to the tent, and Matt actually took Benadryl that night, which, some people would say, oh, throw out whatever he's feeling. But I stayed in one tent, he stayed in another tent, and he fell asleep within like an hour. So not even. So I feel like I was out there alone for most of the night. And about 4 a.m., something runs past our tents, and you can hear me on the audio recorder yell, "Hey!" because I was just trying to get it to step one more time. And nothing happened, just because I was trying to brace myself or at least know where the thing was at or was going. But I ended up passing back out. And of course, we hear these stories where people are like put into like a calm state of mind sometimes when they're so scared. I don't know if the creature did that to me. I really don't think so. I feel like I was just tired enough to fall back asleep. But the next morning, Matt wakes up and he's freaking out, saying, "Something lifted up my tent in the middle of the night. Check this out." So I go outside my tent and I'm like just searching the perimeter, and his tent was unhooked from the ground. But most people, that slept outside, your tent's never the same as when you set it up. So I do think that maybe his Benadryl and the dreams might have affected it, but he said that he felt like he was being lifted up into the air by these creatures. And he had a couple remote viewers and people analyze the situation. They said it was like a ancient forest demon. And it was right after we did a ritual with Stacey Brown about Pan, which opens up like an Aleister Crowley portal.
I don't want that.
Of dangers. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, the first night was groundbreaking with all the Sasquatch stuff, and then the second night got a little spooky. But again, I still wouldn't even qualify this as like a terrifying story. Most of mine are keep your cool in these intense situations, and I'm still here now, so I got through it. But yeah, my main thing is to put myself in these places with history and just experience it. I love to go to all these hot spots and kind of experience what these campers felt.
Well, that's not what I asked you, Connor. I was asking if you heard.
The scariest thing.
The
all right, the
creepiest.
scariest thing was probably 2 years ago. There's a place called Look and Tremble Rapids, and it's on the Chipola River. Chipola River has some skunk ape encounters and some known stuff. And I was alone, and I was actually live on TikTok at the time. So mentally, I was telling myself, I'm not alone. I'm all right. I got people with me. But there's this story of a ghost that lost his head, and he just is relentlessly searching for his head. And it kind of reminds me of the scary stories to tell in the dark, like where's my thumb, where's my toe, whatever that one is. But it's just like a relentless force. And I was out there looking for Sasquatch signs and hoping for knocks or just anything, you know.
Okay, Connor, slow down. So we got a headless ghost. We've got a Bigfoot somewhere. You're losing me, dude.
I was Bigfoot hunting in a place that.
Okay, just hang on. Just hang on, Connor. You got all the time you need. You don't have to rush. So when you see this thing I'm going to put up, hang on. Actually, I'm going to have Sly Fox. He's going to moderate you. We're going to throw up a thing. He's going to go, put the brakes on, Connor, and then I'll throw it up, and then you see it, right? You can see the comments.
No, I'm not signed in, so I'm just going to have to go on Intuition.
Oh, you can't. You can't see these comments.
I go off vibes, man.
Okay. Anyhow, Jeff, can you go like this once in a while? Yeah, like that. Okay, when you see that.
Hey, the thing is, it's all connected, though.
I know it is, but we want it. We want to go a little deeper. I don't want to go from A to Z in 10 minutes. I want to enjoy A for a while and go on to B and enjoy it. So we just want to enjoy it. So I know what you're used to. We're going to go deep. I want to go deep into these stories. You have a lot of cool stories. I do know that. So let's enjoy them a little bit. I'm trying to retrain. I'm trying to retrain Connor because your brain's going a million miles an hour, and I know he's had probably 30 cups of coffee.
I've never had coffee. If I did, who knows what would happen?
I don't know. That might.
You don't have any caffeine in you right now?
None.
Tap water.
Wow.
In a bottle. And since the landfills won't recycle it, I keep my own bottles, you know?
Well, I respect your energy, man.
Ken Squatch says that you've mellowed with age.
Yeah. No, honestly, seriously, this is it. I'm chill right now. If you check me with the long hair, you know, Ken's knows. Yeah. This is,
okay. Anyhow, so we're at the Headless Ghost.
Yeah.
Somehow this is connected to Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's a Bigfoot hotspot, and when I'm outside in Florida, mostly I'm skunk ape hunting, unless I'm in an abandoned house. But I was at a place called Look and Tremble Rapids, which is a sick name itself. But I was after dark, live on TikTok, just chilling, talking to the people, and I was waiting for knocks and any kind of evidence, nighttime that I could gather, and I wasn't getting anything Sasquatch-wise that I felt, but on my way back about a mile into the woods, I felt like I was being followed, but not like a Sasquatch feeling. It felt like another man was following me, like someone else was out there. And it was terrifying. And the whole time I hustled back, and I think I was on live, and then my phone ended up going out. So like the last 5 minutes were like hightailing it to my car. And I wasn't even thinking about the headless ghost either. I was thinking Bigfoot research, and then another person was out there without a light. Like, it was just terrifying, just relentlessly following me. And then when I got home, I was able to like gather my thoughts, and I was like, maybe that was the headless ghost, just relentlessly looking for his head.
Okay.
Again, not the most terrifying, spooking story, but when I was out there, it was scarier than anytime I've been around Bigfoot. Because like either Bigfoot's going to be passive or it's just going to be the end of you. a man out there that's just like stalking you in the dark is terrifying. So again, I think man is scarier than most of these cryptid legends that I go after.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So, okay. Do you let's just go away from Bigfoot for just a minute. Have you known anybody that's seen a Mothman or talked to anybody, any witnesses?
I don't think directly, but I was always a big fan because my grandparents lived right across the river from Wheeling, West Virginia. So we spent a lot of time on Ohio River. So I
Okay.
always was obsessed with the Mothman. But honestly, I don't think I've ever talked to any witnesses. I did think it was always interesting when people saw him in like Chicago and other
Yeah.
places. That's like my favorite thing about the Mothman is that it can, shift around the world and then also kind of like it's a harbor of danger. Kind of reminds me of Odd Thomas. He would see these creatures before there's disaster or before people die. So it's definitely
What is
something
Odd
that's
Thomas?
interesting.
I've never even heard of it. What is
Oh, Odd
Odd
Thomas.
Thomas?
It's a book series and then it's a movie too. And I think the creatures were called Bodocs, and they're like these
Ah,
glimmer creatures that show up when danger is near. And just a really cool movie. The main character died, Anton Yelkin, in real life. Rest in peace. But it's a cool one. A lot of people, whenever I talk about the movie, they're like, "Did you read the books?" And I'm like, "No, I was working on my own." But cool, a very cool thing. One connected thing to a Mothman type creature or shaped creature. Recently, I was in El Paso, moving my sister out there out west, and I read about the Horizon City monster, and that's a Sasquatch or Bigfoot type creature in the El Paso Mountains, in Franklin Mountains, and it would be seen at this golf course. But a crazier legend was at the Waco Tanks. It's a state park surrounded by mountains, and it's this cool rock formation. And there's this artwork that goes back 10,000 years from the local tribes there. And some of them resemble these winged creatures, some resemble these giant creatures, and others look like aliens. But they say deep in those caves, there is a winged skinwalker. And a lot of people on TikTok connect it to the um I'm blanking
Connor's
yeah,
blanking.
the
What the
The
hell?
Mothman. For some reason, I was thinking W. He connects to the Mothman because they both have wings and they both can shape shift. So I just thought it was interesting. My dad and I went mountain climbing there, and I was going up in the caves, and I was hyping him up, telling him that there's these winged creatures. But yeah, very interesting stuff.
Okay, let's get weird. Let's get weird for a second, Connor. People have seen we've got what 10,000 documented sightings of Bigfoot. We have many, many documented sightings of like a creature like a Mothman. Bigfoot seems very plausible to live in the woods and eat and poop and hunt and make a living. Mothman, on the other hand, seems really far out.
Yeah.
You, I believe in both of them, but do you think they're different? Do you think they're both coming from another realm, or what? Where do you stand on this?
Personally, I think that Sasquatch and Wildman is like the true Earthling of the Earth, of the planet. I think they're connected to human beings. Uh, their DNA, some DNA samples have showed a little bit of that, but the Mothman, and then some people do say like, oh, the fallen angels and all that stuff. So in maybe the fallen angel sense, maybe it is similar to the Mothman. But I don't know. The Mothman is very interesting too because it's kind of like the Jersey Devil. Some say he's like a winged creature. So there is different representations of him. So I would, I would believe that he might be physically here too. But as everything that exists, it comes in two forms, physical and wave form. So sometimes if you, become your true being, you can become that waveform. So possibly maybe the Sasquatch and the Mothman and other these elementals, maybe they are so in tune with what they are and who they are and what we are in this realm that they are able to tap into that waveform. So yeah, I definitely think it's interesting. If it is a physical creature, the Mothman, then it would be, going into caves and probably flying during the nighttime and living up in trees, maybe. Some interesting stuff. But then again, if it's true that he's like a symbol of bad things to come, then maybe he isn't a physical entity. Maybe he is something in the
Well, what is he?
spiritual realm.
What do you think what do you think these things are doing? And what do they want? I mean, everything wants something. Everything needs something.
Maybe it's they feed off that energy. Everything's energy, and everything works with each other. So maybe them being there before it is just like sucking up the energy, all the bad stuff to come. Because when a bad storm is about to hit, you can predict it. Like there's stuff that happens. So maybe before these bad things happen, there is this just dire bad energy out there, and it's just absorbing it. Or maybe it's absorbing it for it to lighten up on us too. Like either it's doing good things for us or it's doing bad things for us. But
so you seem really, really open-minded, but you haven't really made 100% conclusions on everything, but you like to come up with theories and stuff. And I commend you for that. That's cool.
I try to think of like what I think, and then I try to think what's the opposite, and then I try to think of other possibilities. Because I've had enough time of saying what I think, and I always have to kind of balance it out with just what is.
Right. Jeff, can you take Connor off my hands for just a second or two?
Sure.
I've got there's a power outage. I'm getting emergency calls from people who are stuck and all sorts of. We've got with some really bad weather going on here. But anyhow, I'll stay here. But maybe I can just deal with a couple of calls, and you can take over for just a minute.
Not a problem.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. So Connor, you mentioned that you went camping with your dad. Is he kind of on the same page as you, or does he think you're nuts? Like my parents. Just so we're clear, that's not. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. My parents kind of think I'm nuts too.
No, spot on question. Definitely very fair. I would say that my dad is not into like the paranormal or Bigfoot. He's definitely open-minded, and he knows that this world holds secrets. But he is not the whole gung-ho Bigfoot guy with me. He's just down for the cause. He's a fireman, so he's definitely seen some of the extremes of life, and he's very street smart. I feel like a lot of the whole seeing in between the lines was taught from him. But my mom, she was the big outdoorsman. She camped with me. She went on a bunch of Bigfoot hikes. She was in a bunch of my YouTube videos and stuff. And so got support from my mom. My dad, not the craziest about it, but definitely just another friend to go along with the journeys.
Cool. Think of another story. I'm enjoying your energy, man. I'd like to hear another story that you experienced personally. Do you got another good camping story?
Yeah. I'll save this. I'll save the one I was just thinking of for when Doug gets here, just so he can bounce back with us. But
mark that. Sure.
But the one that was coming to mind was just another story that here's Doug now. So
I'm here.
Okay, so Hollins Reservation. It's a spot near the Talladega National Forest in Alabama, and the Paranormal Alabama Bigfoot Club, they do an annual meetup there. And I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, I went up there, and it was put on by a former CIA agent. So it was pretty crazy to have just that high of clearance, to be gracing us with the presence and information. But he took us to the spot that he said a hunter was ripped limb from limb and placed against a tree. And again, I've never seen any articles or anything about it, so it is all hearsay. But there was 40 people there, listening to this journey, which doesn't make it any false or true. But it was there. It wasn't just like it was a lie told to me. But we were camping at this place in Hollins, and I was already, had my had my eyes open because Talladega recently just had a murder where these girls like lured a couple and then ended up killing a guy. So it's like there's been a murder in these woods within the last few months. So just everybody on high alert.
Sure.
But he took us to this tree that this hunter was ripped limb from limb from. And at night came around and we thought it would be perfect to camp right by there. So everybody else is in the normal reservation, like where you can camp. And then we went up the hill and slept out there. And we did this little bit of meditative exercise that there was 3 of us and we would hum at the same time and we'd do facial stretches. And there was about 9 steps that we would do. And personally, I feel like when we're going into the woods, if these creatures are so next level and maybe like bats and whales and stuff, like echolocating, and even like elephants, how they can stomp on the ground and communicate with each other. And even if you just never wore shoes your whole life and you're just barefoot, maybe you feel things. But I believe that when we step into the woods, just any kind of researchers, they just see you basically, kind of like the predator would. So we just, stick out like sore thumb right away. And I believe if you come in with multiple people, which we had 3 of us, so and instead of us having all of our own different energy and maybe psyching out the forest and, not being welcome, we all put ourselves in a same position with the meditation. So that way we were like a group of energy, not 3 individuals. So maybe if it was one thing, it wouldn't be intimidated by the numbers. So after doing these meditations, we started hearing these owl calls and this weird vibration from the forest. And then we heard this little sound of it like creeping right up to us. And we all stayed in our and at the end of the meditation, you don't do anything for like 10 to 15 minutes. So that's all of us do all the action and then we're just holding. And that's when all this stuff starts happening. And it just feels like, it sounded like something was creeping up and just like checking up on us within like 10 feet. And just a kind of a remarkable night. Nothing really else happened of that, but I was just told that they did that same thing again and had some of the strange activity resurfaced. So I just thought that was really cool that they were able to replicate it, and just the fact that we had the balls to go up there where everywhere else doesn't. So I don't know. It's again nothing too crazy happened in the night, but when you're out there in the woods, away from safety, away from everything, even just the minuscule stuff, really sticks with you. And paranormal, and I feel like these creatures, if they've hidden from us for this long, they're very subtle. So nothing is going to be, unless it's accidental or on purpose by them, it's, to scare us, it's not going to be too intense. It's just
are you ever afraid of these creatures, Connor?
I'm sure I have been in glimpses, but I'm out there for a reason, and I am very well aware of like missing 411 and stuff like that. When I was in Cades Cove, where Dennis Martin started his camping trip before he went missing, I was hiking alone up there while Flat Rock was at camp.
Wasn't that in Tennessee?
Yes, in the Smoky Mountains, and and a lot of other strange stuff has happened there, even of recent times. So yes, Dennis Martin went missing 55 years ago, but there's like a dozen other people in the past decade. Right. So when I was hiking in Cades Cove, I kind of let it got to me. So I guess so. If there's this, if I'm alone, if I'm with anybody, something would really have to be intense to be scary. Like when you're with somebody, I don't know, it's like a cheat code. And then I've done enough scary hiking alone in the middle of Tate's Hell at night at Torreya State Park, at Apalachicola, and then camped in some of these locations. So mentally, I guess I'm able to get myself over it most of the time. But if I'm alone, possibility, I'm not. I'm having fun.
Would you ever go camping in Bigfoot country alone, Connor?
Yeah. What I have, I've camped in Skunk Ape country alone, and then up in Ohio, in the Grassman country, I've definitely camped a handful of times alone.
Brave soul. I wouldn't do that. Hell no. Hell no. I know too much.
I'm single. My family encourages my journey, so it's like, I don't have a wife or kids that I have to be responsible for. Maybe one day I'll fine tune my brain, but right now I feel like I'm the guy. I'm the guinea pig to go out there and try some of this stuff. And
you're never gonna have a wife or kids if you don't slow it down, Connor.
Honestly, that might be my. Maybe I'll just talk too fast. That they
You
just
probably
like,
have these women that just fall in love with you, and you just go right past them.
I do have to. I'll slow down once in a while.
There you go.
Especially with the women. Yes.
You need to do that. No, seriously, and all seriousness. You got to slow down and enjoy things. I remember when I was your age, and I was probably pretty crazed on some of these things. You get a lot done. Do you how much time do you spend in your personal life thinking, writing, looking up stuff, watching things monster related? How much time is doing that, and how much time is just doing normal things?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. I work at a retro shop, and we sell video games, movies, and figurines. So basically, all the time at work, I get to kind of talk about it, and I'm kind of keeping an ear out for witnesses. A lot of people call me the Bigfoot guy, and like even if they like talk about Bigfoot to somebody else, they're like, "Hey, the guy at retro, he's into video game or he's into Bigfoot." So a lot of times people are sent to me. So I 50-50. But I do have to say, over the last year, it has definitely decreased just because of just the oversaturation. I feel like everybody has a podcast now. Everybody has a picture of Bigfoot. Everybody is posting an AI image of an 1800s giant that has, so I needed a break from it, I think. And I think that just balanced with everything. I was going at this speed, and I had to slow down at this speed, and hopefully I can even go slower in 2025. But a lot of the time.
Hang on, Connor. Connor's like you remember the old 78 records?
Yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah.
That's Connor.
Well, before my time, but I know what they are. Yeah.
He's not a 33 and a half album. He's a 78, 1945 Gene Autry record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor, what other cryptids are you interested in? Other than Bigfoot, what are your big interests?
Lake monsters, definitely, because
really?
Lake Erie has Lake Erie monster, South Bay Bessie. And growing up, I always heard about how there was a bounty on her head because some fishermen went missing. And then there was this place in Toledo that you could go into like the basement, and then it went into the water, and you could throw chum into the water, and you could feed the Lake Erie monster. So I always thought that was cool. And I did a lot of fishing growing up, walleye and perch fishing. And anytime the rod would break, I'd be that kid saying it was the Lake Erie monster. And then right before I moved down to Florida, they actually got a hockey team named the Lake Erie Monsters. So that was pretty cool. And then since I moved down here, I actually saw a report saying there was mermaid seen in Lake Erie. So I'm like, man, all this time I was looking for this freaking plesiosaur Loch Ness creature, and there was, maybe beautiful women swimming right by me. So last time I went to Lake Erie a couple months ago, and I was definitely looking more for the mermaids than South Bay Bessie. But
sure,
it's really
I don't blame
cool
you.
that I was able to have my own like hometown Nessie, and watching Monster Quest as a kid, and even like the incident at Loch Ness with Werner Herzog was just always so cool. That everybody hears about the Loch Ness monster, so to have something in your own backyard is really special.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're ever going to solve the Bigfoot mystery, or do you think it's just going to remain a mystery?
Personally, I think it's already been solved. They've, the Ocheesee Pond Wild Man was captured. There's been reports of another one captured like in the 80s that was kept at asylum, and dozens of people seen it. Even the Minnesota Iceman, which I know both, everything I'm saying, someone would have a counter saying, that was a normal person, that was a fake Iceman. But I personally think that it would disrupt everything. And we already know like the owls, how they're protected, and basically like lumber is wiped out from those certain areas. If Sasquatch is out there, they are everywhere. So basically all the forest would be protected. There would be no more lumber industry. I think like education would change, religion would change, everything would change. If they have to lie to us so much, you know, on our daily lives, like this past year we've seen, imagine if it's something that serious as like Cain. Like literally, they say Cain, the marked one, was covered in hair and as tall as a man on a horse. Joseph Smith ran into him in the 1800s. So if we're talking something as serious as like biblical, you know, masterclass, then yeah, I don't think they're going to keep a cap on it for sure. But I do think with technology and just expansion of humans, maybe it's just a matter of time that an incident will happen that they cannot basically naysay. But they do a very good job of it.
So are you under the impression there's a cover up with the Bigfoot phenomena or the Bigfoot mystery? Do you feel if a body is hit by a car, a Tesla hits one, it's going to get swept under the rug?
Yeah, there was a report of a Florida Wildlife Commission officer. He ran one over, and then the suits came in and ended up taking it like within a day. Stacey Brown interviewed him in a documentary and everything, and it's not the only report I've heard of these creatures being hit by a car and then being swept away. Even back in the day in the Vietnam War, they would kill some of the rock apes, and then when they would bring them back to the base, they'd be taken away by some higher ups. So yeah, I definitely think it's a control factor. It's basically there's other human beings on Earth that, you know, don't have to live by the same cruel rules that we do, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. I definitely think there's a cover up. Yeah, the fact that Smithsonian has hidden all these giant bones, and in the 1800s finding mound builder relics, and it's like, where is that now? And then even like Lovelock Cave, where the giants were, the red-haired giants, and they were smoked out. Lovelock Museum used to have 2 giant skulls on display. Like, it was well known. It's documented. There's photos of it. And now they're gone. So yeah, it's just they've been caught in their lies too many times. It's definitely to control us. Maybe it's to protect us. And maybe it's to keep the national parks going. Again, even the national parks go back to Teddy Roosevelt, and Teddy Roosevelt was the notorious Sasquatch hunter. And some people think that Teddy Roosevelt's book that he writes about a hunter being kidnapped by a family of Sasquatch, a lot of people believe that is Teddy Roosevelt first person, and he had, you know, big goals and aspirations in the future, so he put it to a third person because there was a lot of details in there that no one else would have known. So I don't know if it goes back to like Teddy Roosevelt is like marked treaties with these creatures and maybe like a line that we don't cross.
Well, he was responsible for a lot of the national park creations, so maybe
and that's where everybody's going missing.
You think the cover up is mostly, assuming there's a cover up, you think it's mostly to kind of psychological reasons to keep us from freaking out? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, just the way the world's been recently, we've seen how bad they can freak out and how people have to be coached and like kind of managed these days. They don't want people kind of free thinking, and yeah, it would disassemble everything. Like some people would stop going to work. Like they'd be like, why work? And I know that sounds extreme, but it would change everything. And some people live in such a bubble that they believe everything they're told, and then once that illusion's over, it could even get dangerous. Like, you know, it could look like Minnesota.
So I'm trying to wear his battery down too. Jeff, it's not working. Anyhow.
That's okay.
Yeah. I'm just teasing you, Connor. We love you. Do you have a theory as to what Bigfoot is? And do you think there is maybe a UFO connection that people keep thinking, you know, they keep thinking it over and over and over, or an orb connection or some kind of alien intelligence? I don't know. I have just as a disclaimer, This is Connor talking, not me. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, with Bigfoot, I believe that it is the true Earthling. I believe that they are another human being species, and that the mother is human, and then the father is some unknown uh, entity or some unknown species.
Okay.
And I don't believe that the aliens created the Bigfoot, unless the aliens created all human beings. But I do believe that the aliens are here doing studies and abducting people to gather information. And if they're, abducting human beings, then they're gonna abduct the large Sasquatch too, just because I'm sure there's a lot more to learn from Sasquatch. They talk about their diet not having any parasites like in their feces, so it's like they have mastered like living on Earth. So I think they would be something very interesting to study. But then you go back to like even the DNA is older than Earth itself. So if we have DNA, we came from somewhere else, and I guess that goes to like what are aliens? Are they inner Earth beings, or are they other dimensional, or are they demons? Some people say all aliens are these demons, or those are the Watchers. But I think there's Sasquatch are natural beings on Earth, and I think that aliens are up in the sky and up down in our oceans and our lakes, doing research on these creatures. And maybe since the Sasquatch is so where they need to be, maybe aliens are communicating with them at a maybe higher level. But some people say human beings and aliens have treaties and have these sit downs every year, and the Dulce base, bunch of crazy stuff. But I definitely think natural for Sasquatch, and I think magical for aliens.
Interesting. Do you think Bigfoots are even more intelligent than humans? Do you think they're just intelligent on the woods, in the forest? Or do you think they actually might be more intelligent than we are?
That's like a hard thing to judge, because I don't think they're gonna like read Harry Potter as good as us, even if they're like so much beyond us. So that's like, it's how you use it. Um, they some people like the movie Sasquatch Sunset came out, and that was like the biggest Sasquatch movie. They made them so dumb in the movie that they didn't even know what a road was. Like, and that played to the humor, But I believe nature wise they have all the answers, and maybe with telepathy and all that stuff, maybe they know what we're thinking, or maybe they can tell good people and bad people, just intuition. Because I've heard stories where they give like warnings and stuff. So as an Earthling, yes, they're blowing us away. But as this dumbed down existence that we have to live in, we probably blow them away. But maybe if we had Harry or the Cheesy Pond Wild Man long enough and they trained him, his brain power probably would be beyond it. But the fact that they have stayed hidden for this long, their being is just better adapted at Earth. So I guess their mind would be too.
Kenny he says, ask Connor how he thinks the skunk ape handles the hurricanes.
Yeah.
That have especially ravaged Florida recently.
Yeah, it's definitely really sad. I always get sad about the wildlife and even the cryptids. They always like, you see the meme. It's like, when it's cold, bring him inside, and it's like Sasquatch outside. But here in Florida, a lot of people have theories that the skunk ape digs burrows into the mud banks, similar to alligators. So basically, if they do that, I think they would go into these mud banks. Also, people say that they live in these very large trees, and the cypress trees get freaking huge in the swamp. So maybe they would know an area that is, impassable, basically, that maybe they can set themselves up behind a big wall of trees or inside of a tree. And I also believe that deep in the national forest that they do create their little like colonies. And I've heard I heard that one time these two tweakers like went so far into the forest in the Apalachicola National Forest that they found this wall just like of vines and trees. And then behind it was where they lived. And so maybe maybe they're set up for it. But again, they sense it, so they probably know when it's too bad to get out, and maybe they escape to Georgia and Alabama, kind of like some wildlife would. But maybe they have planned for it, and the trees, the burrows, and maybe abandoned houses too. A lot of people, 50 years with Bigfoot, about the family in Tennessee, they had the the Bigfoot would go down in the basement. So if there's abandoned homes, which there's tons of in Florida, maybe they live in abandoned homes too.
Yeah, well, when you ask Connor a question, you get 50 answers. So we did get. You covered every last possible theory under the sun.
And sometimes there's like an old grandma that lives, down the dirt road. She just houses them in the barn, right with the horses.
Sure. Yeah, no, Connor, you give new meaning to that phrase. We'll just throw it on the wall and see what happens. That's good. I love it.
You mentioned, I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the show. You mentioned Sasquatch Sunset. I don't want to get too far off track, but did you enjoy that movie?
Yeah, it was a fun hour and a half, but I had some gripes with it. One, it's the #1 Sasquatch movie, and it's supposed to represent Sasquatch in the community and everything. They didn't consult anybody. They just made their own movie. Like, man, the Bigfoot community is so proud, and we actually are becoming something. Like, it would have been right for them to consult some people and maybe get some information, so that way everything that showed up on screen wasn't just surface level crap that you could find in a 5-second search. I liked it, but I honestly, before it, I was like mad. Not even me. Like don't, if you want to consult me, but consult somebody. And I did see they worked with one team in the past on a short film, so maybe they did consult somebody that was just behind closed doors and maybe not like in the community, maybe just like a scientific part of the community.
Well, they consulted a primate expert to help with the language, but it was a primate expert that wanted nothing to do with Sasquatch, which I agree with you. I think it was a huge missed opportunity to talk to some people that had more knowledge, but oh well.
And I live by my words. I'm a cryptid hunter who makes movies for cryptid hunters with other cryptid hunters. So when these suits and these people that don't give a dang about Bigfoot, they just know there's money in it because that's what it is. They didn't care about the community, and I kind of felt like that was our one time to connect. Like, it could have brought things together. But at the bottom line is, hey, it gets people talking about Bigfoot, excited, buying merchandise, looking in the woods. So big picture, it added so many more people to the hunt and to the fun. So I can't complain that a movie about Sasquatch got big, but I wish they cared about the little guy a little bit. But I guess when it gets that high of money, 9 figures, 10 figures, you don't really care what Bigfoot researchers have to say.
So what kind of? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So tell me about your movies. What you recently came out with another one. What do you incorporate cryptids in your movies a lot?
Yes, like 90% of my movies are cryptids. My life's goal was always to make a full-length movie. When I was growing up, I always wanted to make a movie. And I've got to make short films in college, and then when I moved down here, I got to make a couple other short films and even some silly films, but I got to meet the right people, and I got Huggin Molly. It's about an Alabama witch cryptid. It's a very cool story. Abbeville, Alabama. The first time I ever drove through there, I'm welcome to Abbeville on the sign. Home of Huggin Molly. It has the witch on the city sign, and it has her chasing a kid. So I pulled off to the side, did some research, and did a little video, and thought that was the coolest thing. So 2 years later, I ended up writing a little script about it, and then piecing everything together. And it's a really cool story. It's about my sister Sarah, and she goes missing after she got a job in Abbeville, Alabama. I try to get some answers and hunt her down myself, but to no avail. And then eventually I go up to Abbeville to find her myself. And then I meet all these shady people from the city. And then I finally get some evidence of Huggin Molly, the witch. and it's based on the true urban legend of Huggin Molly. She's a 7-foot tall witch that comes out at nighttime, and she'll squeeze you so hard your bones break and scream in your ear till you go insane. You hope you go deaf first. And I always thought that was so cool because like nighttime's calling, and the fact that she like takes you, it kind of connects to the missing 401 and all that stuff. One interesting take: Jesus Payan from Breaking Bad, the Bigfoot researcher.
He's a friend. Yeah,
he's a very cool dude. He thinks that Huggin Molly is a female Sasquatch because of the screaming in the ear, grabbing so hard and taking you away. So I just like, and what's so funny is, I'm Mr. Throw It at the Wall or try to think of it all. I never even considered that. I thought maybe a witch, a crazy woman, a spirit. And this dude gives me a 4-minute video about how it might be a Bigfoot. And I love Jesus for that. But it was kind of cool because we filmed the movie, and then a couple of the shots, I had to go back by myself in Abbeville. So I'm shooting in the dark by myself. And like, part of me, no, I don't even want to say it, but part of me wishes maybe Huggin Molly took me away for a couple days and I'd been, big news. They'd be like, oh, filmmaker Connor Flynn. But that movie actually just released 3 weeks ago on my YouTube, and it just hit 10,000 views a couple days ago. So it's doing very well. It's getting good reviews. I'm very proud of it. Stacey Brown is in it, Jesus Payan, and RPG from Expedition Bigfoot, of course. And then there's missing person posters that a lot of other paranormal researchers and Bigfoot researchers gave me. I saw Jeremiah Byron in here, Bigfoot Society. Yep, he is a missing person in there, so rest in peace, Jeremiah. But yeah, man, I make cryptid movies for cryptid people, and I have a big Bigfoot following on here, so I kind of skipped Tubi and even Amazon. We had offers from Amazon for winning a film festival in the past, and we just went straight to YouTube because it's like I got to practice what I preach. Basically, I can't say we got to make movies for the community and then then forget them. So yeah, practice what I preach, and I'm so proud of the movie. It's my life dream and my life accomplishment. I hope it's the first of many. And Huggin Molly is like one of the coolest legends out there for sure. She's scary.
It is, especially if it's maybe a female Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So
real quick. Sorry, Doug. Just real quick on the thing of female Bigfoot. I remember hearing this. This is a creepy story. It didn't happen to me. I remember hearing about the story of a hunter that got kidnapped by a female Bigfoot, and she kept him for a sex slave. And she dug a huge pit and threw him in there, and she licked his palms and his feet raw, so he couldn't escape. And it's like, we make the jokes like, oh, female Bigfoot, nah, honestly, that would be bad. Just licking your palms raw and abusing you, bad.
No thanks.
It's like the one guy, he escaped by feeding the dad Bigfoot snuff or chewing tobacco, and then it got sick.
Yeah.
I might have to carry that in my back pocket.
Albert Osman. Okay. Do you think that Bigfoot's responsible for some of the missing people?
Yes, I do. I do believe some of the Bigfoot, some of the missing 401 cases are according to Bigfoot. I remember hearing from multiple people that they, I think it was a Bigfoot psychic, basically. So, it does get a little wonky even with that. But saying that she communicated with these Sasquatch, and that they said some of their rogue Sasquatches were responsible for the missing 401, and then other in those same cases where the clothes is folded up or maybe placed right in a riverbank on a stone. Maybe that is a Sasquatch placing the evidence, so they end up finding the missing person. So maybe it's the rogue Sasquatches, or maybe it's a different entity, and then the Sasquatches are helping us try to get closer to the mystery. But then there's all these things like other dimensions, portals, vortexes. Literally, vortexes, you go to the Montana vortex and you walk across a straight cement and your body shrinks. That's when it goes into the waveform. There's a movie called Caddo Lake that just came out on HBO Max. And it's inspired by the TV show Dark, that was a German show that you go into a cave and then it's like a portal. You end up in a different time and you just can never get back. And just, it's sad to think if some of those people, they just off the map, because some of the cases they find the people like nine miles through the woods. An old man found 9 miles uphill, up the mountain. It's like that's physically impossible. So something took him. And some of the times they have deep scratches in their arms and their face, and I think that's traveling high speed and the limbs are hitting them. And even just like the missing 401 case of Dennis Martin, the Key family said they saw a wild man, emaciated man, carrying little Dennis over the shoulder. And then if you dig really deep into it, there was a family that was paid to hunt down these feral people. The Green Berets came in and they recovered a bunch of skeletons of human beings. So yeah, it's the feral people or the Sasquatch. But I do believe it's maybe these vortexes sometimes, or sometimes maybe just the earth will suck you up and you'll just get to a place you cannot be found. But yeah, I definitely think the Sasquatch are responsible for some of them. I think aliens are some, and then others are just those vortexes or just weird energy situations. Yes, some crazy stuff, that's for sure.
So, what do you think is going to happen with more UFO disclosure? How do you think that's going to affect the whole Bigfoot mystery? Do you think that's going to make people accept the Bigfoot mystery more? Because I still think a good majority of the people think, Bigfoot, that's, it's a bunch of crap, because they don't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
For all they know, there's been 20 sightings throughout history. They don't realize that
there's only one Bigfoot.
Fueled every day by sightings. So, so I just wonder if the UFO mystery is coming out pretty quick. The genie's not going back in the bottle. Do you think that's going to help with the Bigfoot mystery?
Yes, it should. Just the proof that something else is out there, and the fact that we weren't giving all the correct information from the start. So it's like, oh, maybe there's other information they're hiding from us. Maybe they're distracting us with stuff in the skies because maybe the Sasquatch situation is getting so intense too. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I think they go hand in hand. I do think a lot of people don't give a dang anymore what Congress or what the military have to say.
Why?
Because it's the old news. Like, one, they've lied to us in the past, but nowadays you can get news while it's updated from the people. We are the news. We don't have to wait for some middleman to redirect it. So I just think there's enough, people on the ground nowadays. Like, yeah, people find out about UFO encounters before it hits the news now. Like the news is a secondary thing. Like 3 days later, they're like, oh yeah, in Staten Island they got 3 triangular shaped things. But some people still worship the news. A lot of people now see it's kind of a joke. So either like I rely on the people I talk to and what my intuition tells me. The news has already lied enough. Isn't it Operation Mockingbird? I think the CIA, intercepted basically media. Like Anderson Cooper is related to the Vanderbilts. Like it's all a sham.
Well, that's not experience. He is a Vanderbilt. That's
yeah.
true.
Oh yeah. And Kathy Griffin is his dead brother too. So yeah, the world,
So what's next? What's your congrats on your movie, man. That's really impressive that you got that made. What do you have a plan for your next one?
We actually are finishing up a Tate's Hell movie, and Tate's Hell is one of my favorite legends around here. Right when I moved to Florida, I checked the map and I saw Tate's Hell Swamp, and I'm like, hell? Like, oh my gosh, it's actually on the map. This is crazy. So I look up the story, and it's about Seb Tate in the 1800s. He got forced into the swamp because his family was starving or his dog ran away, depending on the legend you hear. But he spent 7 days in the swamp, starving to death, dying of thirst. He was bit by a rattlesnake. But then he said he was stalked by giant swamp creatures and that he was taken care of at night by an Amazon wild woman, which I believe was a female Sasquatch. But then after seven days, he supposedly crawled out of the forest and said, I'm CB Tate and I came from hell, and died. So I've done some research. I went to Tate's Hell and talked to a bunch of the locals. I've done a ghost box there, so I've been boots on the ground, been out there. There's also a place called Bloody Bluff there that one of Stacy Brown's friends witnessed a werewolf, like dogman type creature. So that whole area is definitely very abundant in strangeness. But about 2 years ago, I wrote a little short story about Tate's Hell, and we won a short film. It was a short film, and it was a film festival. We won like best performance, best cinematography, a bunch of awards, and it did very well. And people said, "Oh, you need to make a bigger version of this," but it just costs so much money to make movies, sadly, at that level. And so it went on the back burner. And then a couple months ago, Stacy Brown actually rewrote a different take on the legend, and he asked me to assist and direct him and to act in the movie. I didn't get to play CB Tate again, but they got an older man and a professional actor to play him, and it was very impressive. But we finished that on Saturday, and it's definitely some of the proudest work because we got the Historical Society to donate a bunch of props, and then they let us use the buildings. And it was just a story that represents this area so well. And one of the historical lodges is going to do a premiere there. So it's cool that we get to tell a story that we're interested in, but it's so dope that, the whole town now feels represented because this is their town. This is their tale too. So it's just super cool. And so yeah, Tate's Hell is coming out soon. And then I've in a couple other movies too. I'm in a movie called Frogtown that this woman saw a giant frog king in the swamp as a child. And then like 50 years later, she's still having thoughts about it. And she meets me. And I'm a Bigfoot researcher. I basically play myself. And I inspire her to go back out to the swamp and chase her dreams. And then she does a parade and stuff. And that movie hopefully will do some special things next year because the people that made it are very special people. And I'm just really, really proud of it. But yeah, just like any cryptid angle I can take, I'm into it. And I feel like a lot like Huggin Molly, like that is such a cool legend and no one's made a movie about it yet. Like I feel like it's my duty. Just like the Ocheesee Pond Wildman, when I moved here, that's why I started the show like that. Like if you remember one thing, remember Huggin Molly. But if it's remember one thing from me, the Ocheesee Pond Wildman, like that's just such a cool story. And two more really cool things just in this area that I want to make a movie on. I already have scripts written, but it will cost a little money. Two-toed Tom. It's a 24-foot giant demon alligator in Florida and Alabama, Holmes Creek. And supposedly he ate a bunch of livestock, and then this farmer tried blowing him up with dynamite, blew up one of the ponds, and then heard a screech from across the farm. The other pond, that's where Two-Toed Tom was, ate his granddaughter. Sad stuff, but man, 24-foot alligator, that's some crazy stuff. So I'm always looking out for him, but then I'm always thinking, all these descendants of Two-Toed Tom that are out here. So that was always a fun one. And then there's another one called the Two-Egg Stump Jumper, which is a Two-Egg is a town that was named after, it was very poor, and you'd go to like the center building, that the market. If you didn't have any money to buy your groceries or food to survive, you would trade eggs, 2 eggs. And I always just thought it was cool, but it's a Bigfoot type creature, and they compare him to Shrek. So he's a little shorter, but stockier, and he's very aggressive. And I've interviewed a couple witnesses to him that like they were down in a creek looking for arrowheads, fossils, and bottles, and something roared from above the tree and then jumped down in the bank and like kind of shook the ground. And I always thought that was cool. And then nearby where the creature was spotted, there was actually a dead body laid by a lake or a pond. It's a big pond. And just some crazy stuff. So when there's actually like real life death involved, which Two-Toed Tom, it's like a legend, but the person who died by the pond was like recent. So just makes it that much more serious. And then if I do find something, maybe I'm finding something like of importance, that maybe could bring clarity to a family or something.
So what is a frogman?
Frogman.
Greg just hang on. Greg Olson said, heard of people seeing the frogman. What is it?
That would be cool if that was Greg Olson from the Carolina Panthers. That'd be cool. But the Frogman originated. The first legend I heard of it was in Loveland, and that's actually my home state in Ohio by Cincinnati. And there was multiple sightings that a little kid saw one, and it was by a creek. But then the more reputable sighting was from a police officer, and he actually spotted him while on duty, and then said that the Frogman was holding some kind of like magical beam that it lights up. So a lot of it is like Frogman has this light that he's like guiding. But this one is a frog king, and it's based in Florida. I don't think it's based on any like real legend, but it does take from the Ohio Frogman. And then I did see he says the South Carolina. I know in South Carolina, Scape Ore Swamp, that is home to the lizard man, and sometimes people describe him as amphibian. So maybe they have their own frogman, or maybe it's just the lizard man maybe it's a reptilian, maybe being misidentified. But it's fun stuff, that's for sure.
Okay, so I did an episode of Monster Quest on the creature that was kind of in like some kind of a floating chariot, I guess, for lack of a better word, that kind of looked like was it Ace of Spades or some kind of a spades helmet looking? You know what I'm talking about?
Not sure. I'm not sure.
Oh, you don't? Oh, darn.
I might have seen your episode back in,
I can't think of the damn name. But we did a reenactment, and it was like some lizard-like creature that floated in a kind of a floating chariot. But it let out gas, and people passed out. There was a number of people that saw it, and I think it took place in Florida. I thought you might know about it.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. Honestly, it's just not ringing a bell. And if it
I can't think of
it happened in Florida, then you stumped the Schwab, because I thought I had it.
Yeah. That was kind of a cool episode, because it was one of the weirder ones that we did for Monster Quest. And Stanton Friedman, I got him involved in that one. I just my mind is blank. Do you have? Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was just going to say, going back up a little bit, there is actual real folklore about frogs being related to some type of demons. There's, I don't know if anybody here is a Hellboy fan. Hellboy, the Hellboy books, the comic books, are most of those are based on actual folklore, and so my point is there is historical folklore of frogs and frog demons and frogmen. So that's a pretty old story, actually.
It's wild.
Yeah, no, the frog. I've always heard the frogmen, and those are the stories that really stick with you when you're a little kid and you're like a younger person, and they get you more interested in cryptozoology. I remember reading that and reading about the Jersey Devil and those kinds of things, and looking at those old witness sketches, going, ooh, it just totally intrigued you. Okay, now, as promised, how did you get interested in all this crap?
Growing up, I was always interested in like unsolved mysteries. I remember watching those with my mom and just like being so scared every time. And now it definitely makes sense just because it's unsolved. So it leaves it so open-ended. But growing up, my grandparents lived in southern Ohio, Bellsville. It's near the Ohio River. They have about 180 acres that we used to hunt on. And my cousin Eddie one morning was walking to his deer stand, and he swore that something was stalking him and paralleling him. And every time he would stop, it would stop. And Eddie was a country guy, old school, no BS, just told it how it was. And the fact that always stuck with me. And my grandpa always tried to talk all of us cousins out of it, kind of like, oh, it was just a bear, or maybe it was just a big cat. But they always stuck with me. And then it's pretty crazy. My two best friends up in Ohio, Alex and Jake at the time, they had an encounter, a daytime encounter. They were being driven home by this local fireman from the rec center, and they saw this creature pass the car on the road right in front of them. And they thought it was a deer, but they actually realized it was standing up, but it was deer colored. So like that dark brown, tan, maybe even black at certain angles. But then it went across the road and then went up this hill at record speed and then went into this red barn. And they always talked about it for like months because they knew I was into this kind of stuff. So they were always telling me about the Sleepy Hollow Wolfman because it was in a place called Sleepy Hollow too. So that just adds so much more just mental to it when you're a kid, and you think that's the only Sleepy Hollow too, like the Headless Horseman. But months later, Friday night before a golf league, Saturday morning, Bunker Hill, and we're down in his basement and we're playing pool for hours, and then eventually this strange feeling comes upon all three of us because we just stopped playing and we're like something messed with us, and we turn the lights off and we're looking, and the whole it's a walkout basement, so just like all glass. So we went in this corner and we're looking through this little window and we see this giant black creature right on the edge of the wood line, and it was just hulking. It was darker than the night. And eventually we ended up like diving away because we were so scared. Then we looked back and it was gone. We tried watching movies for the rest of the night, staying down there. Saving Private Ryan was like their movie. I still remember being so curled up on the side and being scared. So I guess this would have been the good scared story when I was a kid. I was so scared, just like shivering, and they must have been scared too because we ended up going all the way upstairs to Alex's room. And falling asleep. And then the next morning, his mom's like, "Why don't you guys sleep in the playroom? Like, why'd you sleep in Alex's room?" And we told her, and we said, "Hey, we saw this giant thing in the woods." And she was really like religious and by the book. And she actually said that she heard man-like owl calls very prominently when she first moved there. So it was kind of cool that someone unrelated was able to somewhat confirm it or make us feel better. But yeah, it was just really crazy. And we always call it the Sleepy Hollow Wolfman, but really all I saw was just a big black mass. I could just tell something was there, and it always stuck with me. So that way, after that, I knew they're not always telling you the truth when, Bigfoot's not real, aliens aren't real. Like, I had my own proof that something strange happened in the woods. And I think just mixed with knowing that the Ohio Grassman existed in the Buckeye State, and just hearing the stories of like the moonshiners that would have to leave out some like trades and offers or else their stills would get wrecked. I think just the combination of hearing that as a kid and then, my own encounter definitely just propelled me to all this strangeness. But I always liked like art and filmmaking and hiking and fishing. So honestly, it's like the perfect combination of it all for me.
By the way, several people, including Kenny and Nixon, said the episode was on the Flatwoods Monster. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh yeah. Do you know anything about the Flatwoods Monster encounter?
Yeah, I've definitely heard the Flatwoods Monster. I never heard of it actually like being on a floating chariot though.
Yeah, it was on a chariot that lifted, it was this kind of anti-gravity, and it floated through the woods, and there was like some giant creature. Very interesting. I have no idea. I don't know.
It had like red skin too. Red and like green, I'm pretty sure the Flatwoods Monster was.
Some people claim it had like a helmet on it, and it shot a gas and left an oily residue. You get these one-off, really weird encounters, like the Pascagoula incident, where these creatures look like rutabagas, and yet you never hear it again. And those guys were the most believable men.
They were taken because they were believable. They were taken because they actually had information. And then they were taken up on that spaceship, and a giant eyeball looked at them. I went to Pascagoula, and I went to the bathroom in my pants accidentally because I was taunting the forest. I was with my buddy Adam and his family, and I was taking them Bigfoot hunting, and we were along the Pascagoula River, and I was trying to amp things up. So I'm like doing these calls, and sometimes I believe you shouldn't do calls. You should just be respectful and let nature be there. So, but I was actually trying to like amp it up, and we heard these strange noises. Me and Adam went into forest, and trying to remember exactly what happened. I feel like we heard a strange sound. No, okay. I had to go. Pretty sure I had to go to the bathroom. I was fine, and then I had a sharp pain in my stomach, And then I tell Adam, I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm literally like trying to go number 2 on the ground, and I hear a strange noise like right next to me. And I like turn around and I end up going. But I think I'm pretty sure I had my pants up. No, I know I'm kind of jumping around. I don't remember. I have it written down in my book. So like that's what I would, advise people to go to. This is just off like memory. And I've had a lot of memories since then. But I went to the bathroom in my pants a little bit. And then I went to the side and said, I got to go to the bathroom. So then I'm like trying to take off my underwear to hide it, to stuff it in the ground. And then I hear a strange sound. So that's what it was. I was taunting the forest. Then I had a sharp pain in my stomach, which maybe was infrasound or maybe it was just bad timing, but I was fine the whole day. And I had a sharp pain in my stomach, diarrhea, and then another strange sound. Again, I don't know if it was the Pascagoula aliens or anything, or the Rougarou maybe, because it's all that same area. But I learned that time, like, respect the forest. And and they didn't know. My buddy and his parents didn't know any of it until I told them, months later. So I was like, the rest of the day I had no underwear on. So that was kind of gross.
How about the Van Meter visitor? I'm in Iowa.
Yeah, it's a cool Tyrannosaur. Of course, I've never been to Iowa. I know Jeremiah loves the Van Meter visitor. I definitely think there are thunderbirds and maybe these leftover large creatures. I have talked to some witnesses where they've said that they've seen like a bird that was as big or as wide as the road. So I guess that could be a thunderbird, but I definitely think of these ancient relics, kind of like how the Van Meter visitor looks like kind of like a lizard, like a giant flying lizard in a way. Kind of like a
by the way,
pterodactyl.
Connor, your audio is getting messed up.
Ooh.
Maybe you can adjust your mic or something's getting.
Yeah, I had to move something because had to let me plug my charger in.
Oh, maybe he's going dead. Do you know anything about the Van Meter visitor? It's kind of like a Mothman kind of thing with wings, and it was seen up on rooftops. I believe.
I'm not familiar with that one. No.
You haven't? You got to read about the Van Meter visitor stories.
It's a new one to me.
Really creepy, super creepy. But you do wonder where these one-off situations happen. They're not repeated. They're one-offs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where the Mothman was a one-off at one time, and now it's all over. People are seeing them everywhere.
The Van Meter visitor has a festival too,
yes.
Which is really cool. They're getting the word out. So definitely, yeah. I love that when a town can like embrace the cryptid and bring a festival with it. Hopefully, Huggin Molly next year. It will be like, hey, everybody, be in before dark. Let's celebrate Huggin Molly. So hopefully,
I'm going to check it out. I'm looking forward to watching it. And I wish you all the success in the world, man. I love your energy and your passion. Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching your movie.
Thank you, man.
I don't love your passion. Just your energy.
Your enthusiasm. I like your enthusiasm. You got some fans in the chat. I don't know. I know you said you can't look at the chat, but you've got some major support in the chat. People here like you, so that's great, man. Good for you.
Appreciate it for sure. And if anything, guys, just speak your truth. Like that's just what I try to do is just be myself relentlessly. Be unforgivable yourself. Just because that way it's all on the table. It's all there. And I'm down to be the fall guy. I'm down to look stupid so other people can feel comfortable too. So it's like, I feel like, I'll be that spear to really break this thing open. So that way the other more quiet people can get in and do their work. But just any way we can get it for sure. Sometimes in the woods, they're telling me, Connor, you're too quiet. What are you thinking? So it's all just with the times, a talk show. I got to talk.
Yeah.
If only we could harness a fraction of your energy, Connor. Just a fraction of it. Somebody had mentioned that I know Sly Fox. He said that Connor's doing 75 miles an hour, and he's stuck at 45. That's how I feel. Exactly.
Hey, I haven't had a speeding ticket since I was 18, so at least can Please can slow it down there.
What's your favorite part of the? I'm sorry, I'm just curious about the movie stuff. What's your favorite part of the movie process? Do you like being on screen? Do you like directing, producing? Do you like writing? What's your favorite? It sounds like you do it all. What's your favorite part?
Yeah, I think it all comes together. I love writing something and then seeing it on screen or seeing people bring it to life. So that's definitely that's the most rewarding. Acting is definitely the funnest because it's like you're the talent. So basically everybody just caters to you and you just have to do your job. I love ever since I started directing, I love it because I love calling if I put myself in a situation that I feel comfortable, I love calling the shots and and I do feel like I'm good at balance. So I've been on sports teams before too, that I know how to work with people. And honestly, filmmaking is the closest to sports and teamwork that I've been a part of since I've been a kid. So
a lot of teamwork.
Yup, and just everybody has their role, and I just love it when it all comes together. But honestly, my favorite recently has been assistant directing. So like Stacy's worried about everything else, and then I'm just keeping everything in line. But honestly, what an answer! But if I'm on a film set, I don't care if I'm a PA. Like I directed a movie and was PA in the same week, so I was getting somebody coffee. And then I'm calling the shots the next, 2 different movies. So I just love being on set and I love working hard on set. Like people always talk about, you're OCD. I'm like, no, just like need to clean. Like, and I don't even believe in OCD or any of those things. But so I'm like, no, man, like just teamwork. Like if I'm working hard, then someone else doesn't have to do it. And I just love it. But my favorite thing, the true answer is watching my own movies. I make my stuff so I can watch it and I can show it with my friends. I think that's the funnest thing, watching a movie, bringing my vision to life, and then having that behind the scenes information or even just me knowing what happened and then what a crap show, what happened behind the scenes, but then it looks great on camera. So it's magic. It's the closest to teamwork and it's the closest to magic that I can get to.
How can people get a hold of you, Connor? Because we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, on my YouTube, Bigfoot Anon, Bigfoot ANON, TikTok, Bigfoot Anonymous. If you're interested in Bigfoot evidence, please go to my TikTok. I have hundreds of videos, tons of evidence, ranging from my friends' personal evidence, my personal evidence, and the internet's evidence. I feel like I was a journalist in high school. I wrote for the school paper. I'm very good at digging. So I'm always finding what other people aren't. So definitely go to Bigfoot Anonymous on TikTok. Please check out Huggin Molly on YouTube. I'm also in The Woodman on Tubi and Skunk Ape Experiments on Tubi. If you guys are into Bigfoot or feral people, I think you guys would get a kick out of that. It all comes together. And some people don't like in horror that I'm a Bigfoot and paranormal guy, and then some people don't like in Bigfoot and paranormal that I'm a horror guy. I believe it all comes together. Real life horrors, scary stuff, magical stuff. It all has some kind of root. So I feel like I need to be the catalyst to bring it all together. And I'm proud. I'm proud of where I am. Proud of where it's all gone, and hopefully more to come. It definitely does get discouraging sometimes when you work so hard and maybe things don't align, but the only time you lose is when you actually give up. So just keep fighting at things. And if you guys are interested in my books, I've written 5 books. They're on Amazon Kindle. I clearly have a lot of thoughts, so it's really nice when I was able to write them down and just like kind of unburden myself with this knowledge, just like get it off my chest, and so that way I don't have to like meticulously remember everything, like every single thing that ever happened to me. I get to just write it down and just dive into it. But I'm just proud and I'm happy to be here, and I feel like my journey has brought me to the right people and right things. So it's just like one day at a time, and some days are better than the others, and some days it reminds me of like why I moved down to Florida, why I was thinking about this in Ohio. So yeah, it's just it's the journey, and every day is trying to figure something out, either consciousness or how to elevate my mind, elevate my body, or to raise awareness about something. And I do like being the voice of the unspoken too. I know a lot of people don't like to have their voice up, so it's like, man, I'll get the megaphone and I'll make it work.
All right, that is a lot of stuff to take in. Excuse me, but we're gonna cut it off. I've got some things I got to take care of because of the bad weather and some people I know who are stranded that might need my help. So I'm going to deal with that. But thank you, every single person in chat. It was fun. Thank you, Connor. And thanks, Jeff. And remember, a normal day for you is maybe a dream day for somebody else. So keep that in mind. Count your blessings. And have a great Thanksgiving here coming up. But from everybody at Untold Radio, have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week with another great guest. And by the way, I'm going to remind everybody we have Les Stroud coming up on December 18th. So stay tuned. Good night, everybody. We love you all.
Good night.
Good night.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. I'll pick you up in my 59 Ford. We head on down the road until we get bored. Just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should start falling, we'll head on home again. Everybody